morning.
OG Ma,
Good morning.
what's the deal, baby?
Nothing. A new day.
New day.
Yes.
I'm throwing it in the chat now. Actually, no, I gotta throw it in the chat. I didn't throw it in the chat last time.
Mm. Yeah, I'm sharing it now.
Instagram. Throw it in the chat.
Everybody's
What's
off.
up, people? Everybody, happy Memorial Day.
Yes. Happy Memorial Day. Yo, I almost like when you're not like, I guess at a certain age or whatever, you forget holidays. Like everybody was like, "What you doing this weekend?" I'm like, "What's this weekend?" Like,
That's
same
probably
thing I
not a
do
bad
every.
thing. That's
Yeah,
probably not a bad thing, though.
yeah. I didn't know. I was like totally out.
You know, people look forward to having a 3-day weekend.
Yes, turning up, chilling, sleeping in. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, nowadays, shoot, we at that age, you need that extra day.
You definitely do.
You need that extra day.
And the thing is like even with the extra day, it's just like you gotta still like pencil in some time to like really reset because you think you get an extra day, so you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do. Man, listen,
It's
do
never
nothing.
enough. That
Yeah,
recovery, people got to start scheduling in that recovery as we get older.
yeah, for sure.
Schedule it in.
Yeah.
Hold on, hold on.
I'm like fixing my glasses. Okay, there we go. I'm trying to get it together this morning. It's funny because the mornings I wake up like early on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm still like, but the moments where I'm just like, oh snap, okay, I gotta get out of the bed. I feel like I'm like more prepared like that. I don't know why.
It's because there's some value in that late get up and you just got to get up. Like you instantly are awake. Like you on point. You walking around like this.
Yeah. Like your what did you say your friend said in football? Like when your back is against the wall
Yo,
or
I like
something.
playing with my back again. I like, yo.
It's like I don't know. I don't like thriving under pressure, but I be thriving under pressure, I guess.
Yeah. Once you get, yeah, that's the dangerous part about being successful still
Mm-hmm.
and like scrambling like late. Like being able to turn something in late and get a
Uh-huh.
good grade, or being able to like do something late, put it off to the last minute, and
Mm-hmm.
then just kind of still being able to get it done. That could hurt us a little bit.
Right. I was gonna say, do you think that because people have done that, or if anybody has done that, do you think that you just adopt that mindset of like how you can continue to do that? Or do you like, okay, no, next time I'm gonna be on point? Or do you just like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna wing it every time?
Hold up, let me get this tea. Yo, Maya ain't doing her job. Hold on.
I'm just sharing it out, y'all. If you want to share it out to your friends. That's what I'm doing right now. It's on Instagram. I think I shared it on Facebook. I don't even use Twitter. How many of y'all use Twitter? Put it in the chat. Do y'all use Twitter and do you find it valuable? And how do you find it valuable? Because I just find myself sometimes, I feel like I'm talking to myself when I'm on Twitter. Maybe because I'm not active. I don't know. Yeah. Twitter is not my thing.
So you were saying, am I able to just wing it?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, do you think that if you wing it and you get a good grade, or you're like you scrambling and you get a good grade, do you think that you adopt that mindset of like, well, I'm just gonna push it to the limits every time, or you're like, no, I'm gonna do better next time?
Yeah, people get comfortable doing what they doing. Everybody's gonna be tempted to push stuff off to the last minute, I feel like.
Right.
But once you get used to, that space to where it's like I can push it off and still do well, people just gonna ride with that. People gonna
Hmm.
ride with that, in my opinion. In
Yeah.
my opinion.
It's ugly. It's ugly. It's better to be prepared because I do that a lot. I notice that like I'm that person a lot. Like, oh well, if it's due Wednesday, like I'm good. I got Tuesday morning or some shit, and that is just terrible.
Yeah. But like Queez just said, pressure does make diamonds. And yo, I'll keep it real. People like if you really out here like trying to like run around and hustling and stuff like that and trying to get a lot of stuff done, you're gonna be scrambling on a lot of stuff. It just is what it is. Like you're gonna be scrambling on a lot of things and being able to execute with that stress, that pressure.
Mm.
Yeah, it definitely could come handy in the clutch. I guess that's what I'm looking to say.
Yeah.
But schedule, I got to schedule as much as I can.
Yeah. And I think as you grow or as you accumulate more, you got to kind of like make space for organization, like for real.
Mhm.
Because the more, I guess, I won't say more work you have, or even, yeah, maybe the more work you have or more responsibilities you end up having, you got to get it together.
I agree. What's the weather like out there?
Okay, today, I have no idea. I know one of these days is supposed to be really hot.
They opened up
Today's,
the
it
pool
was,
here.
it's 59 right now. It's going up to 75. That's cute. That's cute. I like it.
We at 80. We're going to 80. We at 65 right now. Sunny. Everybody having a good weekend. The vibes is there. Energy's there.
Yeah.
OG Mar and I, when we were talking yesterday, we said, yeah, a bunch of them probably gonna be hungover and whatnot. So we're glad that the 5,000 people that are here, of course, we're happy that y'all here. And Mar, we're gonna kind of bounce it back and forth today, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm open. I think, today is a good day to just kind of keep it comfortable. Not really comfortable, but like in a way where like just let everybody talk. Just
A
vibe.
little popcorn. Yo, so this is what we're gonna do. I got a bunch of topics lined up. Mar's gonna try to steer y'all in the direction of one or two because she's probably don't feel like talking about the others. But we open to talking about all of them. So I got a bunch of hot topics and I'm gonna put them in the chat. Y'all kind of giving some direction, or we just gonna, fire off and just kind of see where it leads us.
All right.
But the first one,
Yeah, he likes stirring the pot. I don't.
nah. Pride Month is coming up. We got the presidential election, inflation that's impacting everybody. I don't even
Mm.
know how people can afford cars, a place to live, eggs, whatever else they got going on. And with the food, I heard that a lot of times they just, hell, I swear people just still using this whole COVID situation.
About what?
Um, like everything just costs more. Oh, well, this costs more because the price of this went up 3 years ago and that impacted the way that this thing. Eh.
I think, you know what, as a business owner, I'm sure a lot of things shifted in how you do business, because a lot of people either made a lot of business during COVID or a lot of people lost business during COVID. So if they were able to regain it, I'm sure they're like, okay, this is what we have to do to protect it, make sure we have money, make sure we're getting money. And then also there's those people where like they just became really greedy. And then I also saw, which me and my friend we talked about a lot too during COVID, about like businesses who weren't prepared for the influx. A lot of restaurants who weren't prepared for a extreme amount of orders and just all that different things. So I think during COVID, a lot of things shifted the way people do business. Some good, some bad.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. COVID definitely played a huge impact. I just don't like what I was referring to is more so like how people still acting like they could charge extra just based on certain stuff with COVID. When in
Mhm.
reality, they just trying to increase their margins. It seems like because a lot of this stuff, the things are going up crazy in prices.
Yeah, Uber
Like
had
I got
COVID.
a thing of asparagus for like $7.99.
Oh, really?
A little thing of asparagus. I went up to the register. I was like, "Yo, is this on sale?" She said, "Well, I'm not sure. Like, did you see a sale sign?" I said, "I must have seen a sale sign because I remember looking at the price, and I know I wouldn't have picked this up, to grab $8 vegetables. Like, I'm not,
Mm,
what I'm saying, it's asparagus. Like, but
yeah.
it's yeah, the price is going up. I got some salmon, not for me, but it was like just the regular salmon, like it's $18 a pound.
Yeah, we bought some actually from Whole Foods, and it was wild. Like I thought it was because I don't eat fish either. So when the lady handed me the thing and it was like $90, I had ordered for my boss or whatever, and I was like, Wait, for real? Like I really didn't know because I was like, I definitely don't eat fish. So I was like, well, maybe it's just because I don't eat fish. But then when she saw it, she was like, what the hell? And I was like, girl, that's what you asked for.
Yeah. And what's funny is that I feel like Whole Foods is one of those places where you go into and you learn very quickly, like, oh yeah, there's this inflation thing. It's
Yeah.
happening. Like there's certain spots that you go to that you're reminded, like, oh, this like little stuff. For I was looking at the price of certain cars. Like
Mhm.
I don't know how people can afford like regular cars now.
Yeah.
Like a regular car, like not even anything crazy. I feel like you're paying like $500 a month for a payment, and
Yeah.
that's nothing crazy. Like you used to be able to damn near get an Audi, BMW for some of the lease that for that amount, but now
Wow. I
crazy.
wonder if Uber still has their COVID fees. I'm looking right now. Because when I was in California, there was like hella COVID fees. Like when you would take a ride in Uber, I guess just for like the driver, in case you give them COVID, there's an extra 75 cents or
Wait,
something.
what?
Right. Yeah. Like I guess there was just like a COVID fee, like a COVID California fee. But I'm wondering if that's like everywhere. I'm about to like look it up.
And what about like all these restaurants? Oh shoot, am I good?
Mhm.
You get me?
Uh,
Hold on, I pulled my.
yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know why that sounded crazy. But what
Um,
about all these fees that they started putting in when you would go to a restaurant or go to something, and they would like automatically like now be asking you, oh, we're adding this charge in, or like what they were doing like something with like an extra tip
yeah,
on
like the
certain stuff
tip.
where it's like to go, like this is to go
Yeah,
food, like bro, like you out here now. It's to the
yeah,
point
the
where they're
cashier.
suggesting you tip based on like as if you're actually sitting there eating it. Like, nah, y'all
The
not.
electronic ones. The one of the ladies I went to a sandwich place and she was saying that they don't even get it.
They
Like they
don't
don't
get
even
what?
get they don't even get the extra tip like on the like when you do it on the thing where it's like add 15%,
Oh,
whatever.
the actual person, just the
Yeah,
business
she
gets
was
it.
like, we don't even get it. Don't bother.
Mm,
So I
mm,
mean, I know like there's in certain restaurants there's those like old school tip jars, things like
yeah,
that. But yeah, no, she said they don't even get it. So she was like, "Girl, don't even do that."
damn.
So
I hate
there's
to
that,
hire her.
huh?
That's why you got to incentivize your workers. She over here turning
Exactly.
down bread coming into the business. Like,
Well, I guess yeah, because in my mind I thought I was giving it to her, So I guess
yeah.
she's like, "Don't even fuck that."
But if I own the business, I'm looking at her like, yo, what you doing? Like, that's coming in for the business. We pay you, yeah, but that's coming in for the business. So that tip does
Yeah, I guess.
factor.
I guess if
I
you
don't know.
agree to a certain amount of payment, I would be. I would
Yeah,
feel some. I guess on both ends, I would feel some type of
yeah, like, shorty, you better get that damn tip.
way.
Don't play with it. Don't play with it. That's my joint now.
Mhm.
All right,
Yeah, a
so
lot of
let's
people got lazy.
let's dive into. Hold on, what we got?
You said a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
people
Queez
got
wrote.
lazy. Go
Queez
ahead.
wrote that the costs are up, wages are not keeping up. Definitely not. A lot of people got lazy during COVID. That's a fact. People don't want to work. People. This goes back to that same conversation we we're having. People just expecting certain stuff to, I guess, just be based on what they want. Like, oh, I could work from home. I could do this. I could do all that. I don't want to come in. My boss is telling me to come. Nah, bring your ass in here. If I tell you to come in to work, bring your ass into work.
I'm indifferent about that. I'm only indifferent
Like, what
because
you indifferent about? Like, if I own the company and I tell you to come into work, you're indifferent about.
I
Oh,
feel like
you're indifferent about coming into work today. All right.
no. I feel like no. Like I said last week, I'm more of a person that needs to be like in a job, like at work, like being at home. I'm doing 50 different things at one time. Like I'm thinking about my stuff more so than work stuff. So for me, I don't necessarily like working from home, but I think that some people, if they do well at it and the job gets done, then yeah, why do we need to come in? Like if the job gets done, and then there are some people who do need to be, in their jobs on hands,
You pass
hands,
me a mug for this
but it
tea?
just depends. Huh?
Yeah. Oh, damn. I thought I was on mute. My bad.
Mm-mm.
Nah. Yeah, I need a mug for my tea. But no, as far as what you're saying, like, nah, it's not up to you to decide whether or not you get your job done. Me, as the person that's paying you, I decide whether or not you got your job done. And even if you think that you got your job done just as well, at home. Nah, that's what you think. You
No,
don't
I'm
get.
saying even if the boss is saying like, hey,
Oh,
like
the boss is cool with it. Then
yeah,
yeah,
I'm just saying like for the work culture, like what works best. And I
yeah,
think a lot of places have have had success with people working hybrid or from home as well. And there's been a lot of incentives too. So now, well, maybe a couple of months ago, maybe even still now would be a good time to get into a lot of these companies because they're giving these great incentives for people to work.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Like leverage it.
yeah.
Like, oh, the manager don't want to work, or that position that you was gunning for, they don't want to come in. I'll come in, boss. I'll come in. I'll relieve them. Shoot, use it to your advantage. Use it to your advantage. But we're gonna get into some of these topics. So, OG Mar, either you pick
I'm not. You
or
can.
what? If we gonna start from the top? We
I mean,
going
yeah, you can. I mean, I looked at them last night, and I mean, listen, let it flow. Because some of them, I'm like, I don't know, but whatever.
as you can see
Hmm.
by looking at the bottom of the screen. We're gonna go with Pride Month. All right, we're gonna talk about Pride Month. It is almost here. One of my favorite months. Just joking. Well, whatever. It is what it is. But what I want to talk about is, well, ask you about is, are you aware of like what's going on with like Target, the whole Bud Light thing?
Um, Bud Light, no. Target, I saw something with the kids' clothing. I really like some stuff. I really just let go over. But I did see that there was something like with the tuck friendly clothes or something like that. But you can
Yeah,
enlighten.
and they were all right. So what you're referring to, I believe, is the tuck friendly one piece swimsuit.
Yeah.
That obviously a one piece swimsuit designed traditionally for a woman.
Hmm.
But now they have an extra pouch in the front that you can tuck it in and then be good.
Right.
Um, and I guess a lot of people were, creating a lot of backlash about it because they were saying that it was designed for kids. Now, I believe Target came out and said that it was actually only put out on their adult lines.
Okay.
So, however, neither here nor there. Are companies obligated to push and promote Pride Month? Like, should companies feel obligated to the point where they should have pressure to represent something that they may or may not align with, but just based on society's pressure put on them to, it's like, oh, well, if you don't support us, then you're saying that you hate us. Should it be that way?
I don't think it's that way because I feel like with big companies like a Target or a CVS, whether they stick a stamp on any holiday or anything, they're going to make money. It's almost when they do things like this, when you pick and choose, okay, we're going to do Black history. Now we got to do Latino history. Now we got to do this history. Now we got to do Pride. So all those different things, I think sometimes that can almost make them lose more money because now you have to kind of cater to every community.
Mhm.
Just like they do like the Black History one. Now they do the Latino one and now, Pride. And I'm sure, and as everybody should be represented, but sometimes it can be almost dangerous to pick and choose which ones because now we're living in a day and time where like so many different communities or so many different people have kind of put themselves in their own category and want to be represented. Um, as far as them feeling pressure to do it or like should they do it, I think when it comes to this specific thing, I definitely don't think that the kids line needed that. I definitely agree with like if the adult line, if you're doing something for Pride and this is a part of the line or maybe one of the designers, because I know specifically with Target, they use certain designers when they're promoting a certain holiday or group of people. So maybe if they used a designer from that community and this was one of the things that they had and they put it in the adult bathing suits, I don't find a problem with that. I think because if that's something that's needed in the adult community for Pride, then or for whatever they wear, I think that that's fine. But when you do it for the children's clothing, that's I think a little bit much for me, and that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah. So you're cool with, like, let's say you have a kid and you're walking through, Target just looking for clothes. You're cool with, because this was even something that was done, uh, I believe so, like even months ago. Because I remember seeing articles to where Target was like certain stuff where the boys stuff would mostly be, the blue, the reds, those type of colors. It was still more so gearing towards like the pink, the purple, traditionally
Yeah.
young women's colors. So and just overall talking about this, I feel like it's necessary at this point to say, um, people. There's obviously a lot of divisiveness when it comes to this topic, and I think it's one of those things where if you're too extreme on either side, then it's gonna come out and make you probably look either like an asshole or extremely silly.
Mm.
And I think because everybody, and what I think keeps getting missed, everybody, listen, everybody should have rights. Like nobody should be mistreated because they feel that they're this particular gender, even though they were born somewhere. Like nobody should be mistreated. Like they shouldn't be able to be targeted violently or whatever it may be, targeted any other way. It should not necessarily be that. But I think what gets missed when you just have the both extreme sides arguing is the fact where it's just like, yo, we cool. Like, yo, the majority of us, we get it. Like, yo, you want to have your rights. Everybody deserves to have rights. However, it's just how it's getting pushed and promoted on kids. I think that's where the issue comes into play. Like when even like what they did in Florida, where they were canceling a bunch of, and I'm not sure the exact details, but I think the ones that I'm going to speak on are pretty accurate. Where they were canceling a bunch of drag shows that they were doing down there because they set like some type of legislation to where kids aren't able to go to drag shows, which is
Mhm.
weird. It's like, well, why would a like if you're running a drag show, why would you feel the need to shut it down if just because kids can't go? Like, why does that even need to be targeted to kids? You know what I mean? Like, it just gets super, like, this side feels that they're getting oppressed, so therefore they want to stand up even more, maybe go even more extreme. And then the other
Right.
side is like, yo, they're trying to cut our kids private, you know what I'm saying? So then it gets super extreme on the other side rather than just like a sensible conversation about it where it's like, yo, do what you want to do. Of course there should be no targeting here or there. However, like, y'all doing a little too much pushing this shit on my kids. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like it gets a little bit too much to where it's almost to the point where kids are gonna feel weird if they don't embrace it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all pushing it so
Yeah.
hard, y'all making it seem like that's the norm, like that's the overwhelming norm.
Yeah. I think, it's kind of it's unfortunate when you have it's crazy because as kids it's like they don't have their own voice per se, right? So you have a lot of adults speaking for them, doing all these different things, and as a kid it's like if your parent takes you to a drag show, if your parent takes you somewhere, it's like you really don't have any say so in that. And so it's almost like people are pushing their own agendas and using children
Mm.
sometimes, and I think that that's not fair at all. Um, And like you said, it should be a conversation between, I mean, I guess there's no like one leader of this group and then there's one leader that speaks for everybody on this group, because even within within each group, there's divisiveness. You hear people maybe of an older generation who don't understand the younger generation within that community. Or, some people are just saying, well, hey, I don't care what you do, just keep it away from my kids. Or then there's people who are like, but there's children who are, a part of this community. So it's so many different things and so many different opinions on how things should be done. And I don't know if we'll ever get to some like common ground on that. It's just, I think that again, we, if especially with parents, if that's not something that you want your child around, I mean, there's some reality that's going to kick in by the time they're in middle school and high school. They're going to be, if you keep them in school, they're going to be exposed to certain things, certain communities, certain things that you may not want them to know. But I do feel like the younger they are, you have the right to say like, hey, no, this is not something that I want my kid to talk about. But it's kind of rough because once you get to middle school, it's like we'd be lying if we said that kids don't have their own experiences, or they don't feel as though they are gay, or they all these different things happen, and it may happen earlier than middle school, I don't know. But I think that once they do get to that age, it is something that does need to be talked about, even in a way where, like, say your kid may not be gay or be a part of that community, but just be like, hey, my best friend just told me that she might be, how do I handle that? Or, you know what I mean? So like those are maybe the kind of conversations and learning, that needs to happen. Maybe I would say at a certain age. I wouldn't say that it needs to start any younger than like middle school. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's so tough with the kids.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably one of the scariest things. Like when I think of becoming a parent one day, those are probably some of the scariest conversations that you have to have, because you're not really sure what to say. Am I misleading them, or am I leading them into somewhere where I'm not trying to necessarily lead them?
Right.
What do they need from me at that particular time? Like, are they going through it? Are they asking me one thing, but really, alluding to something else? Like all those type of things around this topic. It's scary, and more so just scary just because, it's like, you don't know. Obviously you want to do what's best for your child. Everybody wants to do what's best for their child. Everybody's going to protect their child. But it's just figuring out like really what is best. A lot of times we don't know. It's kind of like we're learning as we go.
Yeah. And another thing too. So I think with like, I don't know if this is true, but with Florida, like how they want to take Black history out of, school systems and things like that. Now, somebody who would say, and maybe they're super pro-Black, because I've always heard this within the Black community, that they don't even really teach us real Black history in school anyway. So,
what is that? What were they taking out? Because I hear people say it a lot, but when I looked at the bill, that Ron DeSantis actually put in place, I didn't see where that came into place. I knew that there was something more so geared towards the colleges, if I'm not mistaken. But I didn't see what were they. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like that's in the beginning. That's what I said. I don't know if this is true or not.
But no, a lot of people I've heard.
So I've heard a lot of stuff about that. So maybe there's parents who say, "Well, my kid's not Black. What do they need to know that for?" Or, they may have the same point where like, well, my kid's not gay, so what do they need to know that for? Or my kid. So it's just almost like one of those things where I feel like if we got to pick and choose everything our child really learned in school, it would be all over the place. Yeah. Like, a lot of people like, no, you need to value this over this, and you need to focus on this. Well, they need to learn real life skills. And somebody said, well, no, so I think it'll be a bunch of mess anyway. But I think if there was a way to where, I don't know, maybe the next president can like
2024
can figure out a way to promote more like at home living. But then I don't even know if that's healthy if you give parents the full control to like train their children up and teach them on certain things. I don't know if there's ever a way to like make it make sense for everybody when it comes to education, because like I said, I think if everybody got control to say what we needed to learn, it would be all over the place.
Yeah. And I mean, it sucks, but we definitely can't rely on parents to just teach their kids. And that's what and it should be emphasized a lot more than that. Parents just feel like, they could just drop off kids at school and then get all the education that they need. Right. And when they come home, parents are tired, don't feel like teaching all that stuff. So it's definitely something that, first of all, I don't want anybody teaching my kids on Black history, especially people that don't want to teach Black history. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to teach it, teach it a certain way that allows the kids to challenge certain things that they may have grew up thinking, or just different, like have honest, real conversations about it. Right. I don't want it being taught in a way that just, my kid's walking out of class feeling like a victim, feeling like he's less than, so it's very a delicate type of thing. Yeah. And maybe that's why other cultures decide to take that on more in the household, because they don't trust others, to start teaching it outside. And a lot of the stuff, like going back to what you were saying, like even with the the pride and being gay, and the LGBTQ community, and that impact on the schools, it's almost as if, like, when you tell somebody like something's bad, like, yo, what you're doing is bad, don't do it, people are naturally going to be inclined to now double down on it. You know what I mean? And now I'm taking it even further. You know what I mean? So I'm almost to the point where I'm thinking, like, these groups, these people that are politicizing this particular issue, just to get, like, you get one side, the Democrats politicizing it in one way by saying those people are so mean, they hate you, you deserve rights, and pushing it one way, pushing the LGBTQ agenda. And then you have the other side where it's like they're trying to cut off your kids' genitals, you know what I mean? Like, it gets too extreme, and both sides are using fear. Both sides are using fear to control a particular group by saying, like, if you don't get on our side, then your kid, this is going to happen to your kid. And the other side saying, if you don't get on our side, then you're an asshole, your kid's going to be, all these type of things. So, and then it's the people that are in the middle, just trying to figure out, what makes sense, figure out, okay, there are some kids like this, how can we, make it to where they're comfortable and not feeling like they're getting mistreated or their rights aren't being met on one end. But then on the other end, it's like, hold up, easy. Like, we get that your kids may be, part of that community, but the way that y'all are, like, the pride is going a little bit overboard to, like, promoting and, like, selling it to the rest of the kids. You know what I mean? So that's where the boundary is for me.
Yeah. And understandably, kids have questions. They see things, they have questions, they, and it's like, it's up to us to, they're going to get an answer one way or another.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead. Erica, no, I was going to read. Erica wrote, preschools have books about families with same-sex parents, done with age-appropriate explanations because children may encounter that at school.
Yeah.
I also have seen, just through doing a little research, that there's a lot of books that are being promoted that, kids can read at a young age, where you got, boys kissing boys in it and all this other type of stuff. That's to me where it gets a little bit overboard for me. Like, I understand, maybe I don't even know if I understand it, in the books that young. But when it gets a little bit overboard, that's, at least it gets overboard for me when it starts to go into that area, especially with kids super young.
Yeah, I think, like, if there's a book that's saying, like, hey, Josh has two moms, or baby Kate has two dads, and they're explaining, like, every family is different. I think there is a book actually like that about how every family is different and things like that. I think that that's, appropriate conversation to have, because kids do ask around, like, 4, even 3, maybe, once they really start paying attention to things, they're like, well, if I have a mom and dad, and Katie at school has two moms, like, why does she have two moms? Or sometimes they may even ask, like, well, where's her dad? Or where, kids ask those kind of questions. And so I think, there needs to be some type of answer, because we've learned, even within ourselves, that always saving conversations for later never really help. So there has to be some type of guidance through that, to answer your child's questions or concerns or whatever they have, especially when they go to school, because they're exposed to different things, different parents, different, so kids even ask, like, why is your mommy skinny and your dad fat? Like, they ask little questions just like that. And so you know what I mean?
Kids are ruthless, yo. Ruthless.
Some people may, one person may say, well, daddy doesn't exercise, so that's why he's fat. Or somebody may say, well, some people are different, different body shapes, different body size, so it's just where where you draw the line. But I think, in learning and explaining and answering questions, I think that all that kind of stuff is helpful. Books and conversation is helpful, because kids do have things to say and questions. But again, I think when it comes to the promoting, it's all a money thing. It's like, oh, well, if we stick like with Black Lives Matter, half of these establishments were only doing it because they were scared that their business was going to get screwed over because we heard that, oh, everybody's just breaking windows now. So let me slap this BLM sticker on my window so maybe they won't fuck up my shit either. You know what I mean?
Who's wrong for that though? The
It's
store or
protected. If you want to get to the bottom, the foundation of it, it's not wrong. We got to do what we got to do to maintain whatever. But if you're actually a business who doesn't really even serve Black people, they don't support the neighborhood or whatever, don't really do. I've seen that where it's just like, I don't even think
I don't understand how. Like that's one thing that really bothered me. And by the time that all the George Floyd riots were happening, I was already in a place where I was super turned off from all the rallies and marching and all the other stuff. I just didn't think that it did anything, and I thought it was like counterproductive in a lot of ways, especially right before when people were saying like, "Oh, stay in the house with." It was just a lot going on to where I wasn't just feeling a bunch of it. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't feeling a bunch of it. I wasn't feeling the whole defund the police and all that other stuff. It was just goofy stuff that the elites were pushing, that the sheep that we are that just followed. And I'm not saying the sheep that we are is just Black people, because a lot of these rallies, you look at all these rallies, most of the rallies that I look at, is funny when I'm Googling to make a thumbnail for a particular video. I'm looking at all the rallies. There's no Black people there for all these Black Lives Matter rallies. And I don't know what exactly that's about. I don't know whether it's, a certain level of guilt, that people feel, so therefore they want to stand out there and fight the good fight. I'm not exactly sure. But shoot, I don't even know where I was going with this. I was responding to what you were saying. But just pretty much with all that type of stuff, I just wasn't like, I just wasn't necessarily feeling it. Like, I didn't see that it was a productive thing, with all.
There was a lot of things that were very counterproductive when it came to all that stuff. And I don't know if this is true or not, but if you into the dark side of YouTube, or not even the dark side of YouTube, but they would show a lot of videos where it wouldn't even be Black people damaging these businesses. It would be like implants that were strategically placed there to make it seem like, oh, these people are messing up their neighborhoods, they're breaking stuff, they're stealing, doing all this stuff. And it wasn't even actually Black people doing it. It was just people just being planted there.
Amping it up. Yeah, trying to amp it up. Like people trying to start little beefs and stuff.
Right. So that for me was crazy too to see. But I think it's crazy because you try to think what is the answer? What is something that will actually work? What is it going to take for people to actually be like, you do you and thrive, and we do us and thrive? Like, how can
that's not what people are asking though. Like, listen to what you just said.
What is
you do you and thrive, we do us and thrive. That's not what we ask. We beg the people. Like, I feel exactly what you're saying. And this is where I was going before I lost my train of thought. If a business doesn't support me, who cares? Like, I either still go to that business and buy it if I feel I can't get it somewhere else, or I go somewhere else that I feel may support me,
right?
And I buy from there. Or if none of these businesses support me or people that look like me, then that means there's a huge opportunity for people that look like me to sell that particular product, whatever that may be.
Right.
I don't feel when you have the mindset that you just described, which is, you do you thrive, we do us, we're going to thrive. Our mindset is, no, we want to tell you how to run your business. We want the whole DEI conversation. No, you need to have this amount of people that you're hiring to meet this particular quota. So therefore you get this particular score. So when we release it, you won't be looked at as a hate group or a group that is prejudiced and racist. I don't subscribe to that. Bro, I'm not telling you, if I own a business, if I took all the risk to build a particular business, I'm hiring whoever I want to hire. I don't care if this person is not as qualified based on your qualifications as the person that I want to hire. I want to hire them, so I'm hiring them. It is what it is. You can't come into my business and tell me, oh, well, your business doesn't support. How about you create a business, and how about you compete with me and you can hire whoever you want to hire and we go forward from there. our mindset is so victim mentality, which is we want to ask other people who already have companies how to run their companies rather than us just running companies that are favorable and support us. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I think you should be able, because here's the thing, as a business owner, you're not going into it. I mean, you're obviously solving a problem, right? But you're also not going into it with the mindset of failing either, and so it's kind of like you have to do whatever it takes to get the job done, um, to make money, to pay the people that work with you. I think that if you're refusing to hire someone based off of their skin color or based off of things like that, then yeah, that's a problem to
But
me.
why?
No, no, I'm saying if you're basing it just solely on skin color, like that's ridiculous because there's qualified people in every race, I feel like. I mean,
But,
now you
but,
have
but
to go
what's
out
the
and
problem
search.
though? Like I get like, okay, you're an asshole, but what's the problem? If literally if I want to hire, like what's so funny is that the same thing that people complain about is we solve the problems with the problem. It's like, okay, you have a diversity problem, right?
Mhm.
So now we're telling you because you haven't hired a particular group of people, now you have to hire this group. It's like
Yeah.
now you're forcing them to hire particular, but we just weren't cool with them hiring just based on who they wanted to hire.
Right.
But
I
now,
think you should be able to hire whoever you want to. I just don't think it, like I said, like, if you're not doing it based off of just skin color, like I just don't want black people to work here, then I do think that that's wrong. Like you said, like you're an asshole, but you
yeah,
should
I don't
be
think
able
it's.
to do whatever you want to do. You do
I
whatever works for you and you get the support you get or you don't get the support you get based off of that.
I think you're an asshole. I think you're prejudiced, but I don't think you're wrong. That's where
That's,
we disagree. Like
yeah.
I don't the same way. Okay, so do you have a problem? Let's say if somebody was hiring somebody who I don't know. Let's say they wanted to hire people. I'm only hiring skinny people. I'm only hiring um, plus size people. I'm only hiring um, people that have the same faith as me.
Mhm.
Do you have problems with those as well?
I think this is where you have to ask yourself, does it make sense to my brand? Does it match my brand? Will me hiring only plus size people bring me money? Will only hiring skinny people bring me money? Like like I said, it's to that person's discretion. Is it right or wrong? I mean, I could be like, damn, that's fucked up. But at the end of the day, it's what is going to bring your business money, or does it make sense to your business? If you're selling clothes that go up to a size 8, then you don't necessarily, like, you know what I mean? Like maybe a plus size person wouldn't even want to work there because it's like, well, what are the benefits for me? I can't shop here. I don't get a discount here. Or is it I just need a job? You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that they can't do their job because that's what it comes down to. Can you do the job?
Yeah, but what's happening? Two things that I got to address with you. The first thing is, are you going to go to that clothing store and now say, you guys hate big people because you don't have plus size clothing and we're going to
No.
get you shut down?
I
No, how
mean,
about you
not
just
now.
create?
Shit,
How
years
about
ago,
you as that
yes.
person that's complaining, create a plus size line, or you find a plus size line that you can support rather than complaining about
Exactly.
this particular group who doesn't have it. Why don't you
Yeah.
find another group? And then the second thing that you brought up is you said that it was okay when, depending on who you're marketing to, if it makes sense for your business. What if a particular group is marketing to Indian Americans and they don't want to hire white people because they want to hire Indian Americans? Is that, does that make it okay? Just
I'm
based
not
off
saying
your
that
same
it's
logic?
okay. I'm not saying that it's okay at all. I'm just saying you have to, as an owner or business owner, yeah, entrepreneur, you have to be willing to take what comes with whatever decision you make.
I
You
agree.
know what I'm saying? Same thing like with Target. Like a lot of people are in their stores tearing stuff down now. I've seen
Mhm.
videos of that. You just have to take the brunt of that. And I also think that, again, what type of business do you want? What is your goal? Is your goal to make money? Is your goal to satisfy other people? Is your goal to have, all this, everybody and show off that like we support everything and everybody? Like, what is your goal? And if that's really your goal, then you just get with whatever comes with it.
Yeah, and I'm with that because I'm not sure if you said you weren't as familiar with the Bud Light situation. So the
Yeah.
Bud Light situation, for those of y'all that aren't familiar, Bud Light, they put out like a commercial, and I think it was with this guy Dylan Mulvaney. He's
Mm-hmm.
a popular person in the LGBTQ community, I believe. Y'all can correct me if I'm off. But they put a commercial with Dylan Mulvaney, and when they put the commercial up, they Bud Light lost like 30% of their sales. Like their stocks plummeted, all that. And it's based on they were trying to push something that did not align with their particular target audience. So the audience said, all right, well, if that's what y'all are aligned with, if that's what y'all are pushing, that's what y'all are promoting, then if we're not with it, then we just won't support y'all. We just won't buy y'all. And to me,
Right.
that's the most simple thing. If somebody's not supporting your particular group, yo, just don't buy their product. And then when you don't buy their product, just like with Bud Light, now you force Bud Light to show exactly who they support, you know, what they're aligned with. They fired whoever that person with the president or CEO, whoever decided to push that particular promotion, they fired them. Now they're trying to, you know, play the catch up game, and it is what it is. Like we
So
don't have to appeal to any and everybody. Like everything doesn't have to be inclusive. If that like everything doesn't have to be inclusive. Like you don't have to be included in everything. Everything's not going to be for everybody, but that doesn't mean that that particular group hates a particular group. You get what I'm saying?
right. No, I totally agree and understand with that part. But what pisses me off too, and not really pisses me off, but annoys me is that a lot of businesses do shit for clout too, right? Especially now with influencers and having certain influencers and stuff. And so they push agendas just because they're like, oh, well, it's about to be Pride Month, and we want to support that because we'll probably get a bunch of money. They're going to have the bars and the parties, and so we want to get that money too, because it's not really about supporting this community. I don't think sometimes it's not really about, because if you never talked about it before, unless there was somebody on their team that's like, hey, you know what, I'm part of that community. I work here and I feel like we should be included. Then maybe that's different. But I feel like businesses do a lot of stuff for clout. And when they deal with certain influencers of certain communities need to use a little more discernment in who they work with, because if they're doing it for clout too and for money or for that check too, then yeah, it becomes a big risk for that business. And so for me, I feel like if they lost all this money, then go ahead and fire the person whose idea this was. I mean, obviously, it wasn't just one person's idea and it got the green light. I'm sure a bunch of people had to pass on it. That's a problem, because you weren't really doing it to support that community in the first place. You were doing it for clout, and you're like, oh, well, this didn't work, so everybody's got to go. Rather than just being like, nah, this is what we stand up for. That's fine. If you don't support us, we'll take that L. You know what I mean? Because
Be
when it's
real.
a sense of pride, or if this is really who who you are really standing in the gap for, you wouldn't have fired that person. You wouldn't have made it a big deal. You wouldn't have been upset about that law. I mean, you could have been mad, but you wouldn't have. The response would have been different.
Yeah, stand on what you stand on. Like
And so
be
yeah,
real. Just be real.
and that comes out.
Yeah. Because
It's,
that fake love will be challenged. That fake love will definitely be challenged. And let's read a
it loves
couple.
an all-time high.
Say it again.
No, I was a Tink song. Fake loves at an all-time.
It definitely is at all-time high. Pops wrote, everything starts at home with being a parent. The responsibility is ours, not society. Slow clap.
Mm-mm.
100% agree. I think, yeah, 100% agree. Ant wrote, I will say I do like when diversity is incentivized, such as minority status benefits or double minority, mainly because it benefits people of color.
Mm-hmm.
Does it though? Does it really benefit people of color? Now, I understand when you're going to say, oh, well, it puts people of color in those positions, but I argue that it doesn't benefit people of color, because what you're doing is, instead of, you're giving people an out to be a part of a company that traditionally wouldn't necessarily, I guess, hire people that look like them or need to hire a certain amount of people, whatever it may be. If you ask me, when people, just like what we were talking about earlier, when you have certain qualifications and you can't get hired, let's say because a particular company or industry doesn't necessarily hire people like you, I would argue that being forced to create your own, to build your own company, to build your own business, rather than fighting to be a part of this person's business and that person's business, and it only come through diversity, equity, inclusion, to me, that's hurting us. To me, that's giving you some crumbs, you know what I'm saying, that you can be cool with. And it goes back to when we had segregation. We had segregation, right? So during the times of segregation, we had to have our own banks. We had to have our own grocery stores. We had to have our own everything. Why? Because we were forced to do it. So we had to have our own everything. And when we have our own everything, everything thrives, right? Our money stays within our community, from entertainment with the Negro Leagues to grocery stores, to banks, to attorneys, to anything else that we would need as far as a service. So therefore, we're forced to pay our own. We're forced to support our own businesses. So that money doesn't leave our community like it does now, where as soon as we get it, we're spending and putting money in other people's pockets. So to me, when you're forced to create your own, it may be the harder route, but that's when we talk about the delayed gratification, big picture stuff that's going to put us in the best possible position moving forward, rather than just begging these companies to hire us, and where we're bringing them a certain value. So therefore, we're increasing the value of these companies without creating anything of our own, because we're just happy to get a position in their companies, rather than what other cultures decide to embrace, which is, I'm not going to be happy by just elevating your company. I want to create, start my own, elevate my own, hire on my own. When I go into the office of some of my clients and everybody in there speaking the same language, you know what I mean? At a particular client, they all speaking the same language, all look the same. You know, it's a particular Eastern European group, and that's just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? They hire their people, they hire their family. Yeah. I'm not mad at them because I'm looking around saying like, damn, I'm the only black person here. Nah, I'm quietly looking at myself like, damn, why can't we do the same thing? Like, what makes these people have these super qualifications to where that they can create this for their people and it be amazing, but why can't we do the same? So just to Anthony's point, sorry for the long-winded response, but I would argue that a lot of these positions, double minority or whatever, they're just using it. You know, people don't want to hire y'all. They're just using it to fill some type of quota. And that's what it is.
I think, because you said a lot, I'm trying to think like what I was going to say. But in the beginning where you were talking about, you know, these companies, the crazy thing is, when you were saying like they wouldn't normally hire somebody like, you know, that looks, you know, that's black or whatever. I think that it goes back to those like same old ass conversations where it's like a lot of like, I remember a few years ago, we did this like race conversation in Montclair. It was one of those like, it was a while ago, where they have like these conversations and they bring all these people in town into this room and they're like, okay, what's the problem? Let's unfold race. Let's unfold these conversations. And there's like a group of people who are just unaware of one another in a way where it's like, well, I just don't understand this. Well, I just don't understand that. And so to me, sometimes those conversations can be counterproductive too. And then you're just like, okay, fine. You guys just want to be included. We'll include you, like, because that's just what you want. But it's like, it's not really, like you said, it's really not about wanting to just be included. It's really, we should be doing our own thing. We should have offices where it's just us and promoting, you know, what we have going on. It would be lovely to see. And I think, you know, a lot of people try and do it now. It's just, and because of that, I think I was saying to my friend the other day, I'm trying to figure out where I'm going with this, but there was so much pride that we had in just being black that we don't have anymore. And as I was like cleaning out my uncle's house, and another family friend, their elder had passed away and they were cleaning out that house, everything was black. Oh, like every black book, every black movie, like just the support, just the genuine, like, it was just the same way. Like every house that I went into of like someone at a certain age or older, it was just like the same books, Malcolm X this, Martin this, everything just was all black. And it was just like natural because they were like, this is what we have to do. Now, this is my question, and I'm not saying this is what it is, but this is just a question to put out there. Do you think it's because the oppression that they went through is way different or harsher than maybe the oppression that, maybe we can relate to, due to our skin color and things like that. So maybe that sense of pride and that sense of ownership came from, we don't ever want to let slavery or uh, these Jim Crow laws ever happen again. So we have to take this pride in. Do you
Yeah,
think?
it's definitely we've been beaten. Like we're still enslaved mentally. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously we're enslaved with chains. Our minds, in my opinion, are still enslaved. So therefore, and why I say that is because we don't have like a lot of these other groups, they went through things, but they never lost a sense of their culture. They never got off of their purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like they still had their principles, their tradition. Shoot, you ask most black families 3 generations ago, what was great 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 grandma's name? We don't even know. I haven't had conversations about my great great grandmother. I don't even have conversations about my great grandmothers. I don't
Right.
know their names. I don't know my great grandparents' names. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know their names. So we don't pass down any tradition. So therefore, when you don't pass on tradition, then it impacts the lack of unity that we have, the lack of community that we have, the lack of the village mentality that other cultures have that we don't. That's why we don't build together. We don't feel the need to do so. So it to me, it definitely plays a role in it, but I
Mhm.
just don't allow us, or I'm just not going to allow myself to use it as an excuse. It's
Yeah.
like, yo, we can do this very easily if we got so many qualified people. And going back to what Ant's point, I want to make sure that I highlight that Ant was talking more so from a developer standpoint, looking to bring people on as contractors and stuff like that. So there's certain benefits to where, okay, you have to make sure that you're hiring this particular group at this particular time, maybe to make sure that I don't know, whatever quotas they need to keep up with. So I get it. Like I get that it could help us short term, but I just think that our lack of community and unity is always going to hurt us when we don't feel the need to create our own, the need to have our own. It's just business sense. Like this has, I think that it's almost like the Democrat versus Republican debate. I think that the Democrats are with DE and I, it's giving you crumbs. It's giving you crumbs, but you're never going to be able to feed your family off of crumbs. You know what I'm saying? Like it's giving you crumbs that where you're happy because, and oh shoot, we got some real good crumbs. Like we got some real good crumbs. We got some real good food. But until we can learn how to plant, until we can learn how to develop the food for our own selves, then we're
Mhm.
always going to be in this position to where we lack leverage and are always asking the people who own the companies, well, can we do it like this? Can we do it like that? Rather than flipping the mentality and understanding that the only way, like when we talk about level playing fields and things not being racist, we got to be able to compete. We got to
Yeah.
be able to even, like, we don't even have a team to where we can compete. Like we got to create our own this, create our own that, create our own this. So therefore we can compete at least to where people can feel like, okay, that group doesn't mess with me, but at least I'm just going to go to where they do support me. You know what I mean? And I think if we just develop that mentality, then it'll at least put us on the right track to getting to that, to where we don't feel that we need DE and I and all this other stuff to
Yeah.
ask companies to hire us.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, our responsibility too with platforms like this, like you said, like how we highlight people who are within the community, who are doing those things, who are teaching about those things that we need to learn to build, to create, to have. And so, yeah, now I'm thinking like, okay, I need to think of some people that are actually teaching us, because one thing with the food thing, I'm like, yo, I need to learn how to like have my own produce. Obviously, like I'm like I need a farm now. Like me and my homegirls were talking about that, like learning how to just create our own food and have our own stuff and learn how to plant and farm and do all that stuff. I don't know if anybody follows Kayleese, but like she just makes it look fabulous. It is a lot of work, but she makes it look fabulous. But it's important because it's like she knows where her food is coming from. She knows where, like, all the different things about it, whether it's healthy or not, and all these different things. And I'm like, we need to highlight more people in the community that are talking about these things, that are doing these things, because sometimes they get kind of left out in the shadow because everybody isn't paying attention to that, or isn't the goal. And so if we are saying that this can help, then we definitely need to do a better job at like finding out more information for ourselves and highlighting people. that are doing it.
And one thing that I'm actually gonna, I haven't even had much thought about it, but it just came into my mind. So, but I'll express it with y'all. Y'all, we'll walk through it together. Um, I don't. I want to be clear. I'm at a point now where I'm not just bringing somebody on because they're black. Like I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I think naturally, if we develop a certain standard in our community, and we're going to be around each other the most, right? So I think naturally, if we focus on certain people with certain morals, certain values, and certain principles, and then we're going to be around the people who we're around. But I think that first and foremost, if we develop based on those principles, foundations, and morals, that to me is most important. Because when the foundation is just built on, bringing somebody into your team or doing this just because they're black, you may ignore a lot of the other stuff and put yourself in a position where you're now not even building up a business that can actually be a business that performs well. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just doing that, hiring somebody just because they're black. Like, I don't subscribe to that. Like, I want to hire people, my village, my tribe, my community first and foremost. Now, most of those people just so happen to look black. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going into it with a mindset where it's like, I'm just hiring people black here.
No, you can do
I'm
it.
just letting people black live here. Like, nah, I'm not there. So I just wanted to make that clear.
No, I think no, and I think you had mentioned that earlier. But I think also too, yeah, like you said, it's about what is going to. You have to take care of what you are doing. As a business owner, as an entrepreneur, if you own an apartment complex, you have to take care of it. You know what I mean? Like, and it all comes back down to what is your goal? Is it just getting money? Is it maintaining things? You know what I'm saying? Because people, with Section 8 or certain things like that, some people just take Section 8 because it's a consistent check every month. Like, nobody's ever going to be late on their rent. Nobody's ever going to, you know what I mean? Like, I just get money versus, okay, no, I want working class people in my building. I want, certain, like, it's all about what is your goal when you're starting something. What is your vision look like? Is it just about getting that bread, or is it about doing both, having quality and getting, money? So it's really just about what is your goal and sticking to that.
I want to give you an example. The NFL. The NFL owners, a lot of the NFL owners have been called racist in the past, all this stuff. I'm sure a lot of them, I would bank that a lot of them are. You know what I mean? It is what it is. The NFL owners, let's say we have one racist NFL owner. That NFL owner is not saying, oh, I'm just going to hire white people to play for my team. I'm just going to hire white people, because I'm racist. Bro, the NFL owner is like, listen, I'm going to bring on whoever's going to put me in the best possible chance to win.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? No, give me that super athletic black dude. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's thinking like, oh, I'm just hiring white people. So I think even when we get out of this mindset of, like, I don't even like promoting, like when I see people promoting black owned businesses, because to me, I think it turns off a large amount of your customer base. I don't see all these other cultures, and feel free to think about how you want to, but when I study other cultures sell to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's almost as if, like, it's something. If you go into a beauty supply store and you see a sign and it says Asian owned business, does that make you want to shop there? Or does it?
Well, so what I'm saying, when I made that face, is more so because some people I do know have said they've made more, and that's only because.
But let me make my point. But let me make the point. If you walk into a beauty supply store and there's a sign that says Asian owned, what do you think about that? Like, does that make you want to shop there even more? Like, are you more excited to shop there?
I don't feel like it would change my excitement.
Right, you just gonna go in there and get whatever you want. So,
what I need. Yeah.
So when it comes to when you put that black owned stuff on your business, unless you're really just trying to sell to black people, But I'm kind of challenging the whole mindset as far as when we look at starting businesses, we don't need to look at starting businesses that just appeal to our community. You know what I'm saying? We can have businesses, other people are doing it, other people are selling stuff to everybody. Like, I'm not limiting myself to just sell to a particular group. And those people that you're talking about, they may have said like, oh, my sales went up. To me, I would ask them like, oh, well, was it a fad? Did your sales go up when George Floyd died? Like when it was a super BLM type movement, when people were, oh, we're just trying to support. But to me, that's faddish rather than creating a long-standing business to where people can say what they want. But I'm sure that unless white people are just feeling guilt, then, or other cultures, Indian, Asian, when they see Black owned, they're not incentivized to spend more money with your business, in my opinion.
Well, so I think it's two things. Some people do it just, because they may have products that appeal to everybody, right? Especially like maybe a food, like everybody might eat soul food and they say Black owned business on the front of it. I think it's more of like a sense of pride thing or a celebratory thing, or just like, hey, we're Black owned, because it's like, it's almost one of those things, it's rare, shall we say, sometimes.
But then you're setting the standard low.
So I think that people just do it as a sense of pride. And could they be missing out on sales? Probably, maybe so. But I think that the whole reason I think people do that is really just a sense of pride. I don't think it really has anything. But some people, like I said, again, a lot of people did it for clout during that time when people died or when BLM became very popular. So I think it's just one of those things. It all comes back to like, what is your motive? What is your point? Are you trying to make money, or you're going to do whatever it takes to either make money, or you're going to do whatever it takes to prove a point? So
all I know is a lot of these other communities, they make a lot of money off selling products to Black people. And that is the reason why as soon as the Black dollar circulates in our community less than any other group of people, because as soon as we get paid, all we do is spend money with other groups.
And and maybe I'd have to talk about this and work through it off camera, because I definitely, my goal is never to offend a group of people based off of something. And obviously I can learn more about anything, so I don't ever want to just say certain stuff. But yes, we can look at them for the positives and how they circulate their money within their own culture. But there's a lot of things that I disagree with, and how they make money and how they get money and how they keep money.
How? Like, give an example.
Let me finish. So there's certain things that like I've seen just working as a cashier, where I'm like dealing with one group of people versus a different group of people, and how they try to finesse you and how they try to do different things. So it's just like, I don't know if I 100% can agree with like copying their model completely, but
it's literally insane what you just said. And it's insane because why, when somebody says one thing that you could take away from a group, the natural response is to be defensive and to sit here and say, oh, well, this particular group, they do, we're talking about a particular business, and you talking about, oh, well, I walk into their homes and it smells funny. Like
no. I'm talking about when it comes to money, when it comes to business and money, there's certain practices that they do that are just like,
you don't take all of anything from anybody though. Like why when I say that, your natural response is, oh, well, it's still, some stuff that I wouldn't take from that group. You could say that about anything. The person that you look up to the most right now, you don't want their exact life, but you want certain aspects of it, and you take away certain things from it. But why have such a defensive mindset?
Yeah, I get it. Take the meat and leave the bones. Like,
it's simple.
I understand that. I understand that. And like I said, I would have to work through it more, because there's just certain things that I'm just like, fuck no. Like
there's a lot of things that other cultures do that I'm not with. Like, however, I'd be a fool to not look at the places that they're doing better than us in, and to see where we can, peep game and execute on those things. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I mean, we'd have to talk that out outside of camera for me. But I hear you. To talk about groups. Look at you, scared to offend. Yo, and hold on. This is a great point.
No. Okay, let me make that clear, because I'm not
make it clear.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not afraid to necessarily hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to not say, I don't want to say something that I haven't clearly worked out so that if it comes off incorrect or, this may be the time that somebody takes what I say for like dead ass. And then I'll be like, well, no, I didn't really mean it that way. So I don't want to have to trip up on what I'm saying, but I just, yeah, it's not a clear thing yet. So then, if it becomes very clear, if I work it out and then it make it clear, then yeah, I will bring it to the table. But I was just saying, there's just some practices and businesses that I've seen that have just like, okay, it benefits you, but like it's really not cool.
I guess when you feel comfortable talking about it, we can
We
talk
will.
about it because now we just kind of sitting here in limbo, not really sure what you're referring to. But I guess the fact
Yes.
that you had to think about it, I'm still gonna call it out. The fact that you had to think about it is because a lot of those other cultures, they demand that respect. They
Mhm.
demand that respect. The
It's
fact that you're sitting here, hold on, let me just, the fact that you're sitting here questioning, whether I said, I just put up a video of Joy Behar, who felt comfortable talking about Tim Scott, who's running for president, and saying like, "Oh, Tim Scott doesn't understand racism." A black man who's senator in South Carolina, Joy Behar, a white lady, is saying that Tim Scott doesn't understand systemic racism as it pertains to black people in America, and that's why, because he's lost, like Clarence Thomas, that's why he's a Republican. See, other cultures feel that they can just speak out on us, say whatever comes to mind.
right.
But I just wanted to bring that up as an example where we are in a position where we got to worry about, oh, we're saying this, at this time, I don't want to offend this group or offend that group. It just is what it is. That's just the
Right.
type of energy and power that they built up. And all
I,
I'm sitting here saying is, go ahead,
yeah. No, no, go ahead.
go ahead,
No,
go ahead,
finish
go
what
ahead. You
you
want to tap in, tap in. Go ahead.
like I said, I think there's just, I don't want to, it's not even so much of a fear. Like, I just feel like you just keep bringing up, like, I'm afraid to. Like, it's more, like I said, it's more of a, stop. See, you're so annoying, y'all. It's more so of just, I want to make sure I'm very 100% clear on what I'm saying. It's not even really about offending. It's just about making sure that what I'm saying makes sense. Like I said, some things that I've seen, I just did not like. But again, I'm not trying to be back and be like, oh, well, I didn't mean that, and have to come back and do that. I don't want to do that. But anyway, next. It's 8:15. What are we talking about next?
Yeah, you was playing that noise in the background.
No, that's you. I don't have any noise in my background.
Stop playing the noise in the background. Nah, yeah, it's 9:14. That's a lucky number for me. It's 9:14. Let's actually. Oh, we got a couple. Hold on. Pops wrote, "The struggle and the values and priority has lost focus in each generation, and it's sad. That's how we are losing our identity and our culture." Yo, I agree. We've lost. We've like what we've prioritized in our generation now, in my opinion, sets the tone or has set the tone on exactly why a lot of us are in the position that we're in. Like what we prioritize, I guess what I'm saying is you can tell a lot about a person's life or maybe everything about a person's life just based on what they prioritize.
Right.
Ant wrote, of course they have to be qualified as well. That was pertaining to the conversation about hiring black and whatnot. Pops wrote, stores that take food stamps from people and you know that it's against the law, but you do it anyway. That's foul just to get $1. Yeah, yeah. It's yo. Everybody's gonna bend the rules to get $1. It's
Right.
it just is what it is. It's the jungle. Everybody's either bending the rules or trying to figure out a way that they can bend the rules, or complaining about somebody else bending the rules. Like we know that it's there. I guess it comes down to what we always discuss. Our foundational principles, morals, and values. We got to make sure that it's aligned with that, and then move forward from there. Um, there was a couple other things. Mari, I could always tell when Mari's trying to tap out, but I'm gonna throw something else out here.
He's annoying.
I could always tell when Mari trying to tap out.
No, it's not even just
She get
tap
a
out.
little,
It's
she get a
just
little winded with these controversial topics.
it's not even winded. It's just like I said, it's certain stuff that I be wanting to say, and I can be ignorant too. Like I
Yo,
can
say it.
no, like no, like you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like I have a responsibility to myself, and I don't want to just be like, blah, 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 blah. Like, and now we all like at the kitchen table, we kicking it and we talking. Then yeah, I can work through some stuff, and I don't have a problem with doing it here either. I just feel like there's certain things that like I don't want to have to, like she said, I don't want to have to apologize later or be like, you sound ignorant as hell, like. Cause I like some stuff I just be like, wow, no, I could be wrong. Like, you know, and I don't want to do that. Cause like what I have to say is not something that's like positive all the way.
You
Like
doing, see, now she doing all of this, and
you
we
baiting
literally
because
sitting here like, yo,
because
what is
you're
she
doing it.
talking about? Like, just say it.
Exactly,
Like,
because you're baiting me to do it. But
just
anyway,
say it. Like,
Kiki
yo,
said,
you
process
scared
your
as
thoughts.
hell. Let me read Kiki's comment because Kiki not scared.
Exactly.
I feel you, Kamari. Process your thoughts first so you don't have to apologize
Ooh,
later.
exactly.
Oh,
You're
man.
not
No, I'm
doing
not
it.
mad.
You're not.
Just, oh, wait, hold up. Well, Kiki wrote that, but Pop wrote, speak your truth. Speak your beliefs.
And that's the thing. I don't know if that's my truth or my belief.
So let's work through it. You want to work through it or no? Matter of fact, we don't have
No,
to work through it. We can work through it offline and then maybe revisit it Wednesday
maybe.
when you're a little more comfortable. We want you
Safe
comfortable.
space. This is not a
We
safe
want to make sure that you're comfortable. Yo, but yeah, we wanted to. There was a bunch of those other topics, and Kamari off today anyway, so we rocking out a
Yeah,
little
about what
bit.
I'm doing today.
Kamari ain't doing much. Come on now, you in the shy. You need to stay in the house. Yo, all joking aside,
Shut.
can we talk about that? The hard pill to swallow. Can that be the hard pill to swallow? So I
Yeah.
sent Kamari an article. Kamari, can you tell them about the article that I sent you?
It was about the violence in Chicago and how many people were shot or lost their lives this weekend. Um, it is one of those things where 100% it's disgusting. And it's so sad because my experience being here in Chicago is a great one for the most part. And it's just like it takes away from how beautiful the city is. It takes away from all the things that are good about this city. When you see articles like that, it scares people off from visiting here, and it's really unfortunate. I really don't have a lot of roots here, so I can't make sense of the violence. You know, I can't tell you, oh, this is gang violence or this is this certain neighborhood messing with this different neighborhood. So I don't necessarily know that stuff. But it sucks, and my heart goes out for the people who, when you hear them stories about like a little kid getting shot, or you know, people who have nothing to do with whatever could be going on. And I was saying to my homeboy the other day, like, I need to get rid of the Citizens app. It makes me not even want to go outside to like do anything, like especially
Explain that app because I'm not sure everybody know what that
Oh, okay.
is.
So the Citizens app is to kind of bring awareness to the crime and different things that are going on in your community. Where it is helpful, you know, somebody can get help right away. You know, they'll say like, "Oh, there's a little kid hanging out the window, and I'm taking a video." It will alert everybody in the area, so obviously help can get there faster. But then on the other side, because of the type of things that you see on there, like you always hear like shoot, there's a shooter spotter. So like, you know, different things that locate a gun sound or whatever. And they let everybody know, hey, they're shooting on 57th in Lake Park. Don't go to that area. So it'll say different things like that. And so it makes you almost scared to go outside because it shows you how close you are. But the thing I would say about that is that if somebody was shooting or if there was something specific going on, do I want to be the person that is recording or letting people know that there's gang activity or there's a shooting? Because I don't want nobody to be like, oh, that's the snitch from the fifth floor. We seen her walking to, like, I don't know how deep it is. So it's like, it's really weird for me, but I hate that the violence is the way it is here because this is such a beautiful city. Like there's just so many great things that people miss out on because of that, and it's terrible that the people that who live here don't even value how great this city is by doing stuff like that.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough because when you see those things, it's like I'm somewhere in between. You know, of course, you're still gonna feel, you know, hurt by it or just like, damn. But it's to the point where it happens so much, you almost become numb. You know, you almost become numb. You could see an article where it's like, oh, 34, kids murdered in Chicago over the weekend, and the number keeps rising. I didn't even open the article. You know what I
I
mean? Because
didn't either. I don't want to.
it's like we don't, like, who needs to open an article? We've seen it. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like
I get it on my phone.
yeah, we know exactly we know exactly how this happens, and clearly, in my opinion, there's a violence issue, and we put two topics on the screen: violence and divisiveness. Hopefully, I spelled divisiveness right. Um, but when it comes to the divisiveness, like, there's just a culture of, like, we've talked about it before. Like, people are just mean right now. There's not that value on life, relationships, whatever it may be, exchanging with different people that you may live with in your community. And it just puts us all on, like, kind of pins and needles, where it's like you're just kind of waiting for something to happen. And I'm big on, the energy that we put out, but there's just a super violent energy that's being put out. A lot of fear and limited resources. And limited resources. So it always bothers me when, a lot of these cities, it's like we're not even trying to fix these type of issues. You know what I mean? It's almost as if, like, it is what it is. As long as they keep it between 63rd and 60, you know what I'm saying? Like, we'll just let them have it as long as it doesn't spill over into the other neighborhoods. And it's crazy what's just become acceptable to us. It's crazy what's just become acceptable to us. That's 34 parents, like 34 sets of parents that just had to just wake up or just be told that their child is no longer here. Like, but that's what's become acceptable. Like, to where people are dying more over here in these inner cities than in a lot of these war zones in the Middle East or throughout the world. And we've just accepted it.
Yeah. It's like, I don't even know, man. Like, I don't even have a suggestion on what to do. Cause like I said, like, it's crazy. It's sad. And it's just, like, unfortunate, like I said, but I think, I watch, like, TV shows and things like that. So, like, when I was watching The Chi, that's the show that I enjoyed. It was, like, a lot of, like, police activity or, like, government involvement. Like, you see all this, like, underground, like, shady stuff that happens, and so I don't know if it's really like that in real life, but it just sucks because there are people behind the scenes that you would think that are supposed to be, fighting for the right thing or fighting for nonviolence or putting the opportunities for us to not have violent communities out there. Like, that's their job. But again, they're out there doing shady stuff too, or they're getting deals from the back door too that almost promote this violence, that almost benefit off of it. So it just sucks. It's just all about, like, again, the people that are in power or the people that are in place of power. What is your motive? And if your motive is to really get the violence off of the streets, then what are the actions that are being taken to ensure that happens?
And that's why it bothers me so much when I saw why it bothered and still bothers me when I saw the NAACP issue a travel advisory to Florida. Mm-hmm. Like, here we have, y'all are playing games. Like, a lot of our leaders and leaders that we've given support to for years, these people that we think have our best interests at heart, these groups, whether it's BLM, NAACP, whatever group it may be, are really just playing. They're playing around, and they're playing with our lives in a lot of ways because they're not impacted with the Chicago stuff on a day-to-day. A lot of these people, they're part of the elite. So therefore, they don't care. They just need to use a certain group of people as pawns just to get support because they need the votes. All these people in office, how can you issue a travel advisory to Florida because you're saying that they don't value Black lives and LGBTQ lives and all these things based on a bill that DeSantis put through? But all these cities where our kids are literally playing, what's the video game that all the Call of Duty? They're playing Call of Duty in the streets, like killing each other. Like, there's no value on the life. Literally, if you live on the next block, we're just ops. Why? Because our parents were ops. Why? Because our cousins were ops. Why? Because we literally have this issue within our communities, and you don't hear anything from these groups. Anything from these groups. The only time they want to pop out is when they can stoke the fire with race and fear mongering just to create support within themselves, because there's no support. Like, who are they going to pit against each other when it comes to the Chicago issues? There's no group that they can victimize and or blame. You know, they can't, oh, well, it's white people's fault. Well, what do white people have to do? So they don't even address these things because it's almost like there's no money in it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no money in it. What do I get out of solving black on black crime? We need these neighborhoods to be bad. So therefore we can continuously say, oh, it's the monster under your bed. It's the white supremacy. That's why 34 kids just got shot, because of white supremacy, rather than understanding the issue and saying, like, okay, white supremacy, whatever that may be, racism, however that may have impacted us, let's figure it out, and then let's figure out a solution for it. We'd rather just play the blame game. That's at least what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's just like, again, people have to find a benefit. You know, people have to find the benefit out of it. And it's unfortunate that all these people's lives don't matter, really, in the midst of that.
All right. And Lucille wrote, shout out to Lucille. Lucille, Lucille, what made you tap in? Kamari, this shit.
I don't know.
I'm about to say, Lucille, thank you for coming on. Lucille wrote, everyone is on assignment, good and bad. Everybody is on assignment. But in the end, you will know them by their fruits. On Judgment Day, it's going to be everybody before God. And parents must teach their children what's right and wrong. I don't see anything that you just wrote that I would disagree with. At all. Yeah, like whatever people got to do, whatever people do in life, one day, you know, apparently there'll be a judgment day. Eventually you're going to have to either sit with it, whatever you do, or somebody's going to judge it. So I don't know. And that, this kind of brings me back to a conversation. So Lucille, thank you for leading the conversation into this. But I know we spoke before about religion and spirituality, and we never really dive into it. I've had such a day when it comes to like a 180 here. I've been all over the place with religion. We need religion. And I'm not talking about spirituality. We need religion. And I've gotten, like, I'm telling you, I've been on so many different sides of this, but literally when we don't have something to follow, like literally we're in shambles. Like the majority of us, we got to be real. You said it earlier as far as trusting parents. If we can't even trust parents to take ownership of educating their children in certain ways to equip them to flourish when they get older, then how can we trust people to just go out there and make decisions about life without having a certain type of guidance that, in my opinion, I used to think that, a spiritual guidance was enough, but I think the majority of us know we need religious guidance, like rules. We need like certain things that are set in stone. And it goes back to, real quick, because I know I'm rambling. It goes back to, if we don't have a religion that we're subscribed to, then you need to create one within your home. Like something, write some stuff down, write some commandments, write some value, whatever it may be. But we need something to follow because we are a lost group, in my opinion. And we're allowing other things to become gods in our lives rather than something that we may be able to follow through a religion.
Right. And I think, we've talked about this before where, you do have to have some type of foundational stuff so that, everybody can operate accordingly. I think it's just one of those things that when you have those and you get out into the world, something may contradict it or something may, say, okay, well, no, that doesn't sound right, or this doesn't sound right. So I think it's really just about, like you said, having foundational things. Because if I teach my kids, like she mentioned, right from wrong, right? I may have my own perception of what I think is right and what I think is wrong. And then they go out into the world and they disagree with that. You know what I mean? So it's really just about creating some type of foundational things that, like, one, okay, what brings you money? What keeps you safe? What keeps you healthy, and what keeps you mentally focused, whatever, or mentally well. So like and then just maybe breaking off from there. Okay, well, if you do this, this is what happens. This is the proof in the pudding for this. This is the proof in the pudding for that. Because I think when I think of religion sometimes, or when I think of, well, what comes to me when I think of religion, like how I said, I've been to a church where it was like women had to wear something on their head. What is that? Like, if I did it, would I not have the same experience? If I did have something on my head or didn't have anything on my head, would I not be able to pray the same? Like, what does that really matter? So, like, and that to me, for that rule is kind of like, what's the point of the rule? But when you have like foundational things that, like, again, what keeps you healthy, what keeps you safe, what keeps you paid, what keeps you growing, then yeah, that makes sense to me. But like all those other things that were just like little rules that are just added in that make no sense.
Yeah.
I don't find
rules like religion with some common sense. Like we got to have the common sense in there, and it's like
sense.
Right. It's got to make sense because I'm somebody who, like, I'd rather not subscribe to a particular religion at this point in my life. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather not, like, just based on just the learning process. However, like, I'm also like, to me, OG is a religion in my life. You know what I mean? Like, just certain foundations and principles with that. But I just feel that when you look at the majority of people need to follow something. You know what I mean? Like the majority of people, you can't bank on. It's almost like if you tell somebody, either, let's say you tell a kid, all right, y'all got 10 sprints and then come inside. You know what I'm saying? Do them full speed. Make sure that you're running full speed. The coach goes inside because the coach got to run and do something else. Like those kids ain't finna run those as hard as they would run them, you know, with the coach there, unless they got, you know, a player stepping up, you know what I mean, and assuming that role. But, or if you tell somebody on the job, oh, just make a bunch of calls from home. You know, you don't have to come in, like what we were talking about earlier. You may do it the first couple weeks, but, you know, you're going to get to a point where it's like, you know, I don't got to make 20 calls. I can just make 15, you know what I mean? And just make real good calls. You start rationalizing stuff. So I think that what we always will rationalize and consult with our convenience rather than consulting with our principles, morals, and values and what's best for us as far as it aligns to our purpose. So that's why I say I think the majority of us just need something to follow. But you're right, that common sense has to come into play, because a lot of the stuff, I'm going to get turned off if you just have a silly rule that doesn't impact anything. And it's just like, yo, we focusing on building as a community and you talking about I got to wear a hat. You know what I'm saying? Like what are we really talking? So I totally get your point, but maybe more of us need to, or maybe that's an opportunity for us to get away from that type of leadership and to move more towards a different type of leadership. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, that person, they tripping over there. However, that may open the door for somebody else who's more aligned with your type of thinking and what's gonna speak volumes to you.
Yeah, for sure. And even when it comes to just wanting better, like for the community, it's just like get with the people who want to do that, and like always remind people of the goal. Like I'm always big on, like on any project I'm on, like what is the goal? What is the reason we're here? What are we doing? Because then that eliminates, like, we don't need to argue if the goal is this. We don't need to be back and forth if the goal is to make sure this happens. So we know that when we do 1 + 1, we get 2. Let's stick to that. Let's do what works. But yeah.
And Lucille wrote, you don't have to be Christian to speak the truth.
Right.
It's all about our hearts in the right place. Totally agree with that. Totally agree with you. Don't have to be anything to speak the truth. Right. You don't have to be anything. Now, when it comes to it's all about our hearts in the right place, I'll challenge us to say, yo, I think we need more than that. We need more than our hearts just being in the right place. For what we're up against, we need our hearts in the right place. We need our minds in the right place. Like we need to be thinking logically from a strategic standpoint, because survival is war. Everything is war. People may not accept it, but survival is war. Like we need to put food on the table. We need to do certain things within our communities. So I think I get what you're saying. And I just think I would just, you know, up it a notch and say, you know, our minds need to be in the right place too. Let's get to
I think Kiki made a comment
Yeah, I
too.
was about to say, Lucille, appreciate you. Lucille keeping it going. Lucille, you may have to come up and cam up. Um, Kiki wrote, I don't think religion is needed, but spirituality is. Whatever keeps a person from knowing right from wrong. See, I used to think like that, as far as spirituality, could be needed and whatever keeps a person from knowing. But whether a person knows right or wrong, that doesn't mean that they're actually going to apply it. That doesn't mean that they're going to apply a certain thing. So we can sit back and say, like, we're spiritually on par. But to me, when you add in the religion, it adds certain actionable items and certain rules that may be needed at a particular time. Now, what we discussed earlier is that, a lot of these religions were problem solvers to solve particular issues that were relevant at that particular time. So therefore, that's why we may look at something and say, like, yeah, that's out of touch. Like that, like, what does that got to do with anything that we're dealing with now? So there definitely needs to be some updates, and maybe that may be an update where people are creating newer religions, newer way of lives. The Baha'i faith is a new religion. I believe that's almost only like 200, 300 years old. So there's people that are creating these things, but I just think that we need a little bit more than just spirituality at this particular point. I think if you tell people shoot for 10, naturally they're going to get 8. You know what I'm saying? If you tell people to strive for 100, naturally you're going to get 80. So if we tell people to strive for just being more spiritual, then I'm sure it'll do some positive things. However, I just worry that it won't necessarily take us to the actionable steps that we need to take and that we need to follow.
So my question is, again, when you follow a religion and when you follow even spirituality, I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, there is a source, right? Like everything has a source for where you are gaining clarity or gaining understanding or gaining, I don't know, some type of awareness to move forward or to get whatever you need to get done. Really understanding that source and really understanding like the purpose of that source, the motive of that source. I think sometimes too that can help, because I think with spirituality, if you believe, okay, there's a God, there's a source, and then there's me, and I'm being guided and led to doing certain things, I'm always in position, I'm always aligned with doing what is supposed to happen, if that makes sense from spirituality. So like whatever is happening is supposed to be happening. Whereas maybe religion is saying, okay, I get that, but there's some things that we also need to do to make things happen. And so creating your own, like I love the idea of creating your own. I like a blend of it, but that might be just based off of how I grew up, because I'm like, oh, there's some things I love about being Christian, or there's some things I loved about, that all benefit or kind of make sense to me. But now that I'm developing like my own thought process, it's like, well, who do I align with when I say like there's a God, or like what is that? And what is it pushing me to do? And if I'm a Christian and it's pushing me to show up in my community, to do what I feel like I'm aligned to do, to walk in my purpose and to help others and create all these things, then people may say like, you know what, I'll stick with that, because when I stick to these rules or when I stick to this religion, I'm a better person. If I'm spiritual and it's just me, it depends on what, sorry, I'm reading the comments here and talking. It depends on like, what is the source guiding you to do, or whatever you're following, what is it pushing you to do? Like she mentioned earlier, I think Lucilla talked about like the fruit, like what is the fruit of whatever you are calling source or whatever you're following. So whether that be spirituality or religion is like, what's the proof in it? What's the fruit in it? Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I go back and forth because sometimes I'll think like, what made me dislike religion so much? And I'm trying to think about particular things that turn me off from it. But the main reason is I just don't like, when I really disliked it, it was because I just didn't feel that it benefited us. I didn't feel that it was promoting us and pushing us to a more positive place. When I'm talking about how it pertains, like whatever religion that you adopt should be one that makes your community better, should be ones that makes your life better. Like that's what it's supposed to do. So when my issues with particular religions were that I didn't feel that it was pushing a particular group forward. If I don't feel that something is pushing a group that I belong to forward, you know what I mean? Then it's very hard for me to adopt that as the right thing. And different groups and I think that's a big reason why different groups tend to have different religions, because they align with that particular group elevated. So when you have multiple groups within one religion, then it may promote one group more than the other. And I'm talking in circles, but let me just get very specific. Christianity, how it was given to us, was taught to us from a very oppressed standpoint. I've talked to white pastors, had conversations with them, and they've made it very clear that how they teach religion, how they teach Christianity to their congregation is totally different than how religion was taught to us and how that tradition has been passed on to more so be taught to us. So that's my particular issue on it. However, shoot, like I said, either change certain things within it, make it work for you in one particular way, or what does it hurt to create your own? What does it hurt to create your own religion that works for you and your family? But I'm just saying that we need something, because spirituality, I understand that connection, but in order to get people to follow in a particular direction, because we need people to follow. That's why we have, certain leaders that we feel comfortable following. Stuff is going to have to be written down. We need some real rules. We need real guidance. It can't just be the free connection that we all have individually with the spiritual being or whatever it may be. Nah, it's got to be something that's written down on paper that we could follow and all get on board with, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. And so here's the problem, because I think with certain religions, that probably is the goal. Like, hey, this really works for us. Let's all do this. But when you look at Christianity and you look at all these, maybe not so much other religions, but there's so many different middlemen. There's so many people in the middle of God, or in the middle of Jesus, or in the middle of these rules or different things. Because you have the Old Testament, then you have the New Testament. Then it's like God redeemed us from this, so now we don't have to do this or whatever. So there's so many different middleman stories. There's so many different things in between that it just causes everybody to go all over the place. And so it's really about, again, really about, making sure that like it's actually working, like what really works.
Let's read a few of these, because I agree 100% with what you said. It's figuring out what really works. Like, it's figuring out what really works. But let's read a couple of these, because I think Ant had a good comment. He wrote, the problem, in my opinion, is religion, absent of spirituality, was a tool used by ancient societies to manipulate and control the masses. I believe that is where the discernment is needed today. I agree. We know that it's been used as a tool to do negative things. We understand that. However, we also got to acknowledge that, it's also been used as a tool to gain a lot of followers. You know what I mean? To gain a lot of, and to conquer different lands and all this other thing. So, and it may be bad for one particular group, but what's bad for one particular group may be good, for another group. Which is why we got some of these statues that are still in our country, because it may be seen as heroic to one person, but as super oppressive to another group. So I agree that there has to be a certain level of spirituality in any religion. There has to be that. There has to be that kind of to set that moral compass that we all need, and having somebody higher than us in control, or an ideal that's above us that controls our standard, rather than individuals, because that's where we are right now in life, in my opinion. We make all of these celebrities our gods. We make buying Jordan sneakers our gods. Like all these other things that what we place an emphasis on, what controls our life, what appeals to us, what influences us, we're creating our gods. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I just think it's super important to obviously have that connection on a more structured base. And this is something I'm telling y'all, I do not like that things have to be this way. But I've just gotten to this point because the more like I see things, we need something to follow, because if we don't have something to follow with certain like guidelines, uh, things get all over the place, and a lot of
Yeah.
times I feel like
Structure.
that's where we are right now. Like I got to
I
be
mean,
honest,
yeah, everybody needs structure.
like we've gotten to a point where we literally are okay with men who are born men competing against women in sports. Like I'm just using that as an example to say like this was a joke in a movie, like Joanna Man. This was a joke in a movie just what 20 years ago, and now it's actually something that's happening. So I'm not saying that religion could have solved that. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is that when we don't follow something, then we can get led anywhere. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we can excuse anything. To me, that's where we are right
It's,
now in
yeah,
society.
and it's just like, again, I think, it sounds good, because again, it's like, who am I to say I'm going to set all these rules and this is how it should be and this is what I think it should be? Because somebody maybe say, well, I don't have to listen to you, or like it's more so about the person sometimes too, about where these rules are coming from, because people will be like, yeah, I hear you, but like I'm not following just because of who it comes from or what it comes. So it's just really, I don't even know. People really have to, I hate to say it, and I always say it, it's dog eat dog out here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you really just gotta, I hate to say it again, but like fight for your own and do what works best for you and your community and your group of people, or whoever you deem as your community, and really just go for yours, because trying to get alignment or everybody all on the same page, I don't necessarily see it. Not to say that it can't happen or it won't happen. It's just that it's too many opinionated people, too many different communities, too many. And it's just like, if we can all agree that like we just want to be here and thrive, I don't know. Like, I don't know, like I don't know how that ever happened, because somebody just always has this competitive mindset. Or, you see in churches, the ground rules are foundation, everything is foundation, the foundation is love, and the foundation is community and people. And then you get a pastor or a deacon that comes in and steals money, and now it's like, well, that's not the foundation there anymore, you know what I mean? And so it just sucks that like there's always a rotten apple to come and mess shit up.
Yeah, and I go back and forth on how to kind of solve that issue where it's like, okay, if we all were living in, purposeful abundance, but just if we all were living in abundance, would there be less of that, fighting over resources, or would it just be something where we find something else to fight over? I don't know. But I
Yeah.
think Anthony pretty much summed up in this comment how I feel. He said there are good values and religious practices. It really comes down to who is using it and for what purpose. Is it fellowship or projecting your beliefs on others? It's all
Exactly.
going to come down to, who teaches us. We could have 10 different people teach us the game of basketball, and we'll each have a different way of shooting a basketball, a jump shot, just based on the 10 different people that taught us. So it's the same thing with, religion. You can have 10 different people literally teaching the same religion, and
Right.
it be totally different,
And
'cause, you know what I mean?
yeah, I was gonna say to that point, like, you could be trying to teach a kid how to read, right? Or tie a shoe. The way I teach it, the way you teach it, he may receive it better from you than he receives it better than me. It's like, well, as long as you get it. You know what I mean? Like, because that's the same thing too, where like there's just certain teachers when you look at school who just have a connection with the students. You could have kids that are known for being disruptive and have a whole bunch of behavioral issues, but when they come around Miss So and So, it's like, oh, this kid is amazing. But then if you get them, they're like, nah, they're reckless for me. So it's just about who's leading it and what their goal is and how they respond and their patience and their understanding and how they hold themselves accountable, and how
Yeah.
transparent or not transparent. So it's a bunch of things that go into leadership, because a lot of people don't necessarily deserve to be leaders, but just want to be a leader because they think that being anything other than a leader is less than, and it's not. All working parts are needed and
Yeah.
necessary, and that's
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree. A lot of good combos here. We already kept y'all for almost 2 hours. Mar, you want to do another hour or what you want to do?
He's so funny. What? Another hour? No.
Yo, y'all gonna rock out with us for another hour?
Rock out with him, y'all.
Well, um, we'll finish it off. Lucille wrote, "The pastor is human like us too." Um, yeah, everybody's human. Everybody's human. That's why I always look at like God as a status. You know, like that's
Yeah.
something that you got to earn. You know what I mean? And by leading people in a real positive place and having a superhuman influence on individuals. So I think we all got godly potential. I think we all can do our part to figure things out in this world, whether it's something in our own community with the violence, or whether it's whatever you choose to kind of make your stamp on the world in a positive place. But all these conversations come down to us just wanting to figure out how to get
Dak,
stuff.
your people. Lucille is
Bug,
your people. Lamar is your people. Look, Lucille said the stay at home mom is a leader too. Come on, he got
Kiki
people
talking
writing in
about.
for him. He got people writing in for him.
Hold
So
up, who said the stay-at-home mom? I didn't see this.
did she say stay? Yeah, we are all leaders. Even the staying home mom is a leader. That got robots in the chat for us today.
Oh, shout out Lucille! Yo, we doing another hour.
No, we're
Yo, we
not.
doing another hour. Yo, we are all the leaders.
I am
Even and Lucille,
Everyone is a
even the
leader.
staying home mom is a leader. It shouldn't even be the even. We shouldn't even have to put even. We do because based on how we perceive a
What time?
stay-at-home mom. But a stay-at-home mom, yo, that's the ultimate. Like that's what we need to celebrate more and more because we need these village mentalities. My boy Danye, he's starting a podcast and it's called something like Wealth something. And you hear the name of the title and you would think it's about like finances and stuff like that. And what it's really about is just family. And once we understand that family is wealth, like understanding that we have to have families. Like I understand that a lot of society tells us, oh, you don't need this, you don't need that, just live your life, be free, get your dog,
Right.
whatever, chill, all this other stuff. Yo, it
Yeah.
is a responsibility for us to be successful. Like it is a responsibility for us to overcome our generational trauma, our generational fears, because if not, we're putting that on the future generations. So if the best possible chance we have to create wealth, generational wealth, is to have families, is to get married, is to have kids, to do
Yeah.
all these different things, then it's an obligation, it's a duty. Like it's something that we got to do. And I think we have to get back to highlighting how important it is, the role that moms play within the home.
Okay.
Like
So if
forget
we're
the CEO, forget the corporate CEO. Be the CEO right here. You feel me? Be the CEO in your household. And we got to celebrate the hell out of that because they're not getting the celebration from us. They're not getting all that. So therefore, it's not as appealing.
And I think also too, I think everybody should be motivated to do whatever because we only get one fucking shot at this life. We only get one. And if you want to be a stay-at-home mom when you have children and you want to also be a doctor, like I think that you should be able to do that because we only get one shot. So whatever you can manage to do in this lifetime and become in this lifetime, you have your right to. But if we're going to do more time, I need to go get my charger for my computer and I need to.
Your computer's not plugged in, bro?
It's not. I have to go get my charger, which is over there.
We'll get the people a little more. We're only doing another hour if the topic
There
is
you go. This is what he wants to
if
do.
the topic is we talked about Pride Month, we talked
Give
about
me a
violence
second.
and divisiveness. Did I hide you? Huh?
I hit myself. I'll be
Oh,
right back.
my bad. Yeah, get her out of here. She don't need to be here anyway. She's still in the background. So I don't know. We talked about Pride Month. We talked about violence and divisiveness. We had a couple other topics that we started off that we kind of just threw out there that y'all can kind of give us some direction as far as what to talk about. We had the presidential election. We had inflation. We had artificial intelligence. Y'all tell us what y'all want to focus on. I'm gonna dive into the inflation aspect. Yo, rookie mistakes, Mark. Yo, yo, hey, yo, hold up. Let me address these joints real quick. Yeah, and like, yo, why is your computer not plugged in? Like, how could you sit down at your computer and jump on live? Like, rookie mistake, Mark. See, Queez, no. Lucille said, I'm doing laundry, cooking, and cleaning while on my phone, multitasking. That's what it is. My sons call me the super mom. That's a fact, yo. And how does that make you feel when your sons call you the super mom? That should make you feel amazing. Like there should be no other more rewarding feeling than your people, your family telling you like, yo, you're a super mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on, we got to get Kamari. I don't like that side. Here we go. I'm back on the good side. But yo, I was about to jump into the inflation, us talking about what's going on. Everything is so expensive. We could touch on that. The artificial intelligence, the presidential election, we'll give it, you give me a little direction.
And, well, what y'all working about? Y'all got me on here for another hour. So what y'all working about?
Be on for another hour. Cause I got shit to do.
No, I got some, he don't got nothing to do. Just like I don't have nothing to do.
Dude, Queez, I got another transfer machine. So yeah, we're gonna be making shirts and stuff. And remember that I told y'all viewers that been rocking with us from the jump, we got a list of y'all. The people that been rocking with us from the jump, we gonna make y'all we got some dope shirts coming out for y'all. OG Network shirts. We got a big picture of Kamari. We just gonna put on it. And just so y'all can just rep the wake up. And OG Mars, so
yes, put me on your shirt.
On the shirt.
Yeah, I think. Listen, anybody who is rocking it in their position deserves credit. Especially the moms who stay at home, especially the moms who go to work and still handle business. I think everybody who is really doing their job and kicking ass at it deserves to be celebrated. There is no one way that works out perfectly for everybody. But at the end of the day, if you are handling your business and taking care of your kids and love is at the center and their best interest is at the center, like I think you deserve to be celebrated. Right. You ain't got no.
First off, Kiki talking about you ain't got no job, Craig.
You don't got nothing to do.
I got stuff I gotta do, yo.
This is your job.
Yeah, I got other stuff that we need to do with this too.
So I have a question.
No, yeah. Ask me some questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, I have something to talk about.
Word. Now, could you feel a little more comfortable? Because I know there was some stuff that you didn't feel comfortable speaking on. Do you now feel a little bit more like a safe space? See,
this is the problem because people be funny. But anyway, this is
what's the question? What's the question?
Okay. So my brother who is 14 and his friends who are like, I guess around from the ages about 10 to 14, right? They were saying that they didn't like the idea of the mermaid being black, that Disney should have their own new character or their new own movie for something, instead of us just like taking this one character from this story that has been the same story for a long time and just putting a black person on it, versus saying give a new opportunity for a new character, like kind of I guess with the Princess Tiana thing, and like give them their own venue, their own space to be celebrated with their own story, rather than just putting a black person on the story of something that has already been told before, if they really want to represent, in that way.
So where's your stance and what's your question?
No, well, I like do agree with that, because I feel like it kind of was dope for me to hear kids say it from that, rather than just saying like, oh, it's the mermaid movie, I want to see it. They kind of broke it down. Well, like if they're really trying to celebrate a black character, why not give them their own character versus just throwing a black face on something that's already been done before?
Yo, people gonna complain regardless. Let's be real. People gonna complain if you leave Ariel as white, and if you create another new movie off of it. People gonna complain if you change Ariel to being black. People just gonna complain. Like, it is what it is. People gonna complain. I would have to like look at it from both sides and say like what I would tell each side. Like if somebody's complaining, let's say, oh, why didn't they create a new movie with another character? Then I would say, all right, well, why don't you just support? There's a lot of like Black Sands Entertainment. There's a lot of, if you want to go see a black, superhero, you can find black superhero producers, film producers, and all this other stuff. So go support that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or go create your own project where you can have.
Well, I think that's what they were saying too. Like, just create something completely different.
No, but why don't you do it? Like, why we keep?
I mean, they can. I'm just saying.
We keep telling other people what they should do. Why don't we do it? No. I'm being real. Like, why do we constantly tell? Oh, Disney, y'all should do that, or you should do this, or Chick-fil-A, y'all should do this, or Target.
Well, because they're actively doing it.
What you mean?
Well, because
no. If they make a decision to do one thing, why are you telling them, oh, nah, y'all should have done it over here? You go do it. Or you and your people go do it. Like, literally, like, they made a Black Mermaid.
Oh, my God, take that off. You are so annoying. Take that. I did not even see what you wrote at the time. Y'all, he be.
Yo, I'm just saying, like, they gave y'all Negroes a Black Mermaid. Like, now you're upset. Oh, well, why didn't y'all?
No, they weren't. I don't think that they were upset. It was just conscious conversation happening amongst kids, and I was like,
so then create that too. Somebody else create it. It's an opportunity. When you see opportunity, it's almost like, yo, damn, Disney did this, but what they really should have done is this. Yo, let's get a group of people. We gonna do this. They missed out. Let's make sure that we capitalize on it, rather than, yeah, they made a Black Mermaid, but they should have done this. They should have done that. Yo, stop telling them they did what they did. It is what it is. Okay. Like, it's such a victim mentality for us to tell them what they should have done with their movie and their business when we're not figuring out a way to do it ourselves.
Right.
So that's how I look at it.
Okay. Change the screen. But no, I think that was really a good point that they brought up. And I think that was a good conversation for them to have, because sometimes people just want us to celebrate it. Oh, just the Black, so just celebrate it, versus them really just thinking through it sometimes. And that was good for me to hear from the kids to actually process through that. So yeah.
So
Black Mermaid.
We're gonna do, yo, you know what? We're gonna do something different. We're gonna do a little segment. First thing that comes to mind. What's up, OG Mar? You with it? I'm gonna name a few things, a few topics, and you just give me the first thing that comes to mind. How about that?
Maybe. Okay.
All right, and y'all can maybe y'all can tap into the chat. Y'all can do that as well. All right, so
we're gonna see if you're trying to set me up.
First thing first, you ready? You can't think about it. All right, it's got to be quick response. Donald Trump.
Ew.
Joe Biden.
Ew.
Make America Great Again.
I guess.
Kanye West.
Ew.
Kyrie Irving.
My first response is that I'm trying to remember who that is. That's the guy with the with the anyway, go ahead. Yeah, okay.
Christianity.
I like some of it.
Gay Pride Month.
Do your thing.
I got two more, I think.
Okay.
I got two more. I got two more.
Bring it.
I'm trying to figure out which one I should say, and I think I lost one. I think I lost one. It was a TV show. Oh, no. All right, you go ahead. You answered a good amount.
Yeah, I did. I think for me, so here's the thing, like your reaction to those same names or people would be completely different from me because these are like, like again, these are like
You
all
don't know what my reaction will be.
well, I'm saying yours would be different from mine.
Yeah.
Okay, Kanye West.
Somebody
Australia.
who cares a lot about people, who thinks that he can really save the world, really truly believes it, but struggles, not necessarily, in my opinion, from a mental health standpoint, like everybody else thinks, but he just struggles with understanding the position that he's in, understanding the power that he has, understanding how that can put him in a very dangerous place. And he's struggling between a battle of doing what's good for my people and then with also
What's
facing the reality of the situation that he's put himself in. I'll give you an example. He can come out and say all this black stuff. He wants to do this for black people. I want to do this, and that. It's not fair for this group of people. But then you are literally like who you deal with, the type of person that Kim is. Not that Kim's white, just that she's white, but the type of person that she is. You wouldn't want that type of person being a role model to the black community. However, that's who you decided to marry and have kids with. You get what I'm saying? I think he's very torn and fractured in his mind, and I think that it plays tricks with him and makes him come across as crazy and all this other stuff, which he may end up being driven crazy because I think that the battle that he's trying to face is super challenging, and a lot of people are going to be up against him. But I think Kanye is searching for support from people that he feels are aligned with the same purpose that he's aligned with. But I think that he's also confused in a lot of different ways.
do you think there's any selfishness in any of the things that he does?
I think a lot of it, most things that people do are selfish, but I also think that he really feels that he can make a change. You know what I mean? Like he feels like, I'm the person that could really make this change. And he's super passionate about it in particular areas based on the experience that he's going through. But a lot of people are looking at him like, hold up, bro, like easy. Like you was just doing all this other stuff. Now you're trying to now come over here, promote this, push this. And it's honestly becoming very hard for people who are rocking with you, who do think that you got our people, you want to push the community forward when you're saying outlandish, wild stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like you saying stuff that how it's going to sound when you talk about Hitler and say that you love him. You know what I'm saying? Different stuff like that. Like, how that's going to come across. So now you're making it hard for people to support you in certain things because now you're just saying the ridiculous stuff. Now you're aligning yourself with this person who's already seen a particular way by a particular group. So I think that a lot of it is selfishness because it's based on what he's going through. Like he's talking about the black issues. Yeah, well, black dads, the struggle that he's going through with, his kids, not knowing when his birthday party is, not her taking the kid away, bringing different guys around his kids. Now he's dealing with a lot of the stuff that he realizes that a lot of men have to deal with. And I think it got him looking, he made some comments about like his dad. He looked at his dad and the relationship that he had with his mom and dad completely differently. Now when he looks at his dad, where he's like, damn, like mom's kind of kept pops away from me like that. Like that wasn't right what mom's was doing. You know what I'm saying? But you get to a certain point where now you're seeing things totally different. I feel like he's got so many different things going on in his brain to where he thinks that he's this chosen one, and he may be. Shoot, his impact is significant. You know what I'm saying? But I think that he's just all over the place in a lot of ways.
I think he's a Gemini too. But besides that, I think, certain situations you don't understand them fully until you're in them. And I think sometimes, especially being a parent, you don't realize how important it is in mate choosing. You don't realize sometimes you don't really even know somebody until they become a parent. or you don't know certain sides of them. You may pick somebody for attraction, and you're like, oh, Kim is the hottest thing moving, so I just want it for clout reasons. Like, we look good. Like, I want to be that guy who gets with the girl that everybody wants, and you see where that gets you in certain things when you bring real life into, maybe just all that nonsense. But also, I will say there is a lot of selfishness rooted in it. And it kind of brings me to the thing with like Monique, where it was like, oh, well, I'm mad at Netflix, so all black people need to be mad at Netflix. But now they gave me a check, so yeah, let's watch it again. You know what I mean? Where it's like, well, is this about us or is this about you not getting a check?
Oh, they gave her a check.
I think she did get a show or something, if I'm not
Uh,
mistaken.
and now it's like, yo, everybody be, yo, that's yeah.
But I don't know if that was her statement. I don't know if she did that, but I'm just using that as an example that sometimes when these people who are famous or whatever, it's just like, oh, this person did me wrong. So now we need to all, as a collective, not fuck with Adidas or not fuck with Netflix or all the different things. And now when things are settled on my end, it's like, oh, yeah, y'all good to go back now. It's like, well, what was really the issue? Was it really a race thing? Was it a black thing? Or was it just a you thing? Are you difficult to work with? You know what I mean? Like, so it's just one of those things where I think it does come off very selfish, and it really does show how much influence that this person does have. And that's a lot of pressure, I think, sometimes for people too, and that does make them crazy because it's like, damn, if I say everybody jump up and down, everybody's gonna do it. That's a lot of responsibility when you have that power. And some people think that they want it, and when they get it, they're like, whoa, or they get it, and it almost is like they can't get enough of it. So now they just acting out. And so I think, yeah, what did he say in that song? No one man should have all that power.
Yeah, and even with somebody like Kanye, um, it's you could see he's conflicted in a lot of ways. And Lucille wrote, Kanye just need a timeout to reflect on his life. I think that, huh?
I say
He needs a Yama. Yo,
everybody needs a Yama. That's my thought.
I think what he really needed was a father in his life early on. And I'm gonna say that for a few different reasons, because Kanye, when I say that he seems lost, I'm not sure that Kanye had foundational principles, morals, and values. Or maybe he had it, because I know when he had, like when his mom passed away, this is when he kind of changed some things. And him not having maybe his father in his life, or, obviously when his mom passed away, it kind of put him in this lost space. To me, he was dealing with a different type of women, the different type of woman. He started to go after different types of women, in my opinion, around that time. He started off, talking all this Delta stuff, and then you go from being proud to have a Delta woman to Kim Kardashian. Like, come on now, you know what Kim Kardashian is all about. And it's almost like he sold his soul. He sold his soul, and now he's trying to buy it back and convince y'all and convince us why we should buy into it as well. Now that he's seeing things from a different space. And that may just be he needed to go through an experience with a Kim K to understand that ain't it. But it's to me, I just struggle with. I'm very big on, what? I'm always battling between like a Black China. Like Black China got rid of all her stuff, and now she comes out and she's speaking on it, and we're heralding her as some type of hero. A lot like, thank you so much for speaking on this, for talking about all the harms that nobody's talking about. All that's positive. However, you still were able to make millions of dollars with it, and now you're trying to reverse it, and we're highlighting that and celebrating you for that, rather than just celebrating the person that never got it. Rather than just celebrating the person that started off with foundational principles, morals, and values that are aligned more with moving in a positive way.
What?
So go ahead.
No. Finish. I want you to finish. Yeah, I want you to finish, because I want to make sure that I'm like, because there's certain things I want to say to what you're saying too. But I think, where am I going with it? Okay, so with the first part, I think with when you were talking about Kanye having a dad and things like that, and how he changed, I think any loss, especially like the loss where you say, okay, your father's not in your life or your mother's not active, whatever, any loss will do a number on somebody, right? At different points in their life. And I think, especially a loss that you can't bounce back from or come back from, like when a parent dies, it's almost like there's just this sense of just always this dark hole, like regardless of what age you are. And when that happens, and it does change you, it makes you completely different. It makes you look at things different. It makes you look at life angry sometimes. And so it can be very ugly when people lose people, and it changes them. But also, I will say too, when it comes down to like a Black China kind of thing, I think celebrate evolution, celebrate understanding now, celebrate growth. I think that that's one thing, but then also there's kind of like one eye open kind of thing for me with her, because it's kind of like, is this genuine, or are you realizing that there's no benefit to having a big ass and all these different fillers and all these different things like anymore, because everyone has that. So now you don't look special, you're not random, you're not different. Obviously, as a woman, I would love, and as somebody who's watched her over the years, would hope it's 100% about evolution, and would hope it's 100% about just saying, hey, this is what I thought was cool and this is what it is now. Because if we're honest, and I don't know if this is something that you may have, or I know I have it, there's this other person in my mind of who I think I can become. If I just do this, I'll be this way. And if I ever get to this amount of money, I'll operate like this. And all these things of like, when I get to, or when I have a certain thing, I'll be this type of person. And then when you accumulate those things or get those things, you kind of either switch up on that, or you become this self-absorbed thing that's just like, I'm gonna get to be everything that everybody denied me of. And when your motive isn't just like that revenge kind of thing, you become almost like a Kanye. Because to me, when I look at Kanye, it looks like a little bit of like, I'm gonna be everything they told me I couldn't be, and I'm just gonna use that as the fire. But then also I have this like God complex of who I am, and I'm gonna be that too. And sometimes when you don't have a real God leading your life, or any type of, again, like we talked about, foundational things, you get off track of that, and then it all becomes about you and what you want in your agenda. And now it's like, are we following the right thing, or are we just following you, just stroking your ego?
Yeah.
So
And I agree with that. It's certain things that we gotta have one eye open with, just like you said, whether it's, Kanye, or who you were referring to, who are you referring to when you said
Black China, when I said one
Black China, yeah. Because it's like, now it's like, okay, now getting rid of it is the hot thing now. You know what I mean? So you're still just doing what's hot. You know what I mean? It's like,
or is this
can we really believe?
Yeah.
Right. Like what's really you? And Angie.
I hope so.
Queez wrote, Kanye and Kyrie think outside the box and are not afraid to go against agendas that are being pushed on us. I think they both struggle on their delivery.
That's a good
I would agree. And it's almost as if, like, you look at the Kyrie situation, and it reminds me of like Kaepernick, to where Kaepernick was somebody who a lot of people said struggled on his delivery, but he just wasn't super talkative. He let us know exactly what he was doing it for, and there was not really much said after that. He wasn't the talkative type. He just let us know exactly what he's doing it for and kept it moving from there. A lot of people complained about him not being able to speak on it, elaborate on it, explain it the right way. So a lot of these people, I feel like when we don't have the unity, it forces all of these people who are standing up for certain stuff to be everything. You know what I mean? Like, it's the person that has the most courage and is willing to fight, but also has to be able to massage it in a deliverable way. Where before we had more unity, where you would have athletes come together, whether it was like Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all these people come together. So one person didn't have to be the all everything. You know what I mean? Like, one person may be the person that's just super courageous and just going to stand on principle no matter what, and I'm riding. But that may not be the best person to kind of illustrate and deliver exactly what we're doing this for, what our movement's about, what we're questioning, and how we want to see things move forward. So it's almost like when you get these individuals, whether it's Kanye, I'm pretty sure that it would be more beneficial to us if Kanye got together with some other brothers, maybe who understand, a lot of the stuff that Kanye's talking about with the music industry and all these things. It's not like people disagree with it. Like, it's not like a lot of his peers super just disagree with it. They're just not willing to align themselves with him because he's seen as so extreme, or they just be maybe don't have the courage, maybe cowardly, all these different things to speak on it, even though they may be more equipped to express it in a way that more people will understand. But they don't even want to take that risk. It's like you see it all the time where Kyrie gets banned from Nike. Wild. Kyrie, like Nike took his shoe. Not one player stood up. LeBron, you're super connected, obviously, and influential when it comes to Nike. Bro, maybe you could have stepped up because you knew that regardless of how people portrayed Kyrie, regardless of how they tried to take his words and different sound bites, you knew that he had good intentions at heart. You know what I'm saying? You knew that he wasn't trying to bash one particular group, but that he was simply trying to elevate and inspire another group. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but then, I was gonna say, but then that Jay Morant kid, he still got his shoe?
But Ja Morant, somebody like him who's just out here, but we got to also understand, like, you're going to be able to do certain stuff. That's a perfect example, because a lot of people are still rocking with him. A lot of people, like, yo, all you did was show a gun. He allowed to have a gun. People don't understand that type of image, like what that projects, because a lot of the people that follow Ja Morant aren't in the same position that Ja Morant is in. A lot of people that are in that same scene, listening to music, listening to all that slide drill music, and got the gun in the car. There's people actually doing that. Like, there's people that are actually, your music is creating, you're creating a soundtrack or a particular vision for them that they actually will follow through with. So it's different. But then for a guy like Kyrie, who, clearly has it more together than Ja Morant, nah. What he said is terrible, all this stuff. We see it all the time. The Giants owner, the owner of the Giants, said he never received the type of hate mail that he received before over the Colin Kaepernick situation. When it's like, yo, let's be real. Okay, y'all, a situation like Colin Kaepernick. Okay, y'all know what he's standing up for. Y'all aren't stupid. Y'all could try to manipulate his message. You could try to manipulate his movement. You know what he's standing up for. You know at this point that he talked to somebody who was a veteran, and the veteran said that, hey, instead of sitting down on the bench, it'll be more respectful for you to take a knee during the anthem in order to get across whatever it is that you're looking to get across. People ignore that. People still will say, oh, he's disrespecting this group, disrespecting that group. And you may think that individually, but when you understand the bigger picture, it's like, yeah, he's figuring out a way to stand up for something that's very important for him at this time. Y'all may not like the delivery. Y'all may not like this and that. But, you got to admit he's standing up for something that actually is a problem in our country.
Right.
And both sides didn't support it. It's not like Colin Kaepernick had the support from so many different Black athletes who may have been able to express it a little bit differently. He didn't necessarily have that. So it's kind of like, okay, it's like now we just allow the message to be whatever the ops, want to portray it as, rather than the message that could have been, kind of baked in the oven with people that understand what Colin Kaepernick's looking to get across.
Yeah, I mean, because people look at what they have to lose. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's like, well, I can't afford to lose no deals, or I can't afford to not make no money or get kicked off the team or whatever. But I was gonna say, I don't know if you were planning to go back to it, but Kiki, before we
Oh yeah, I saw that one with Kiki. Let's I skipped over because Queez was still talking about the Kanye and Kyrie, but let's take a break on Cap, then we'll get back to what Kaepernick wrote. Matter of fact, I'm gonna read Queez's. Cap needed support. He was not supposed to be the spokesperson. Ali, Sam Cooke, Malcolm X had each other. That's exactly what we're saying. Like, yo, with the unity, it allows people to see, instead of just allowing them to villainize Colin Kaepernick, when you start to see, oh, well, shoot, my other favorite player who I actually respect, they spoke on it too. So,
Right.
it makes it harder for them to just manipulate the message and villainize the message when
When
more
it's
people can come on board and support it. Because it's like, yo, it makes it more common, to the point where it's like, yo, dude, ain't talking outside of that. It's like he's really trying to stand on something. You may not agree with the approach, but at least he has the courage. It should be respectable and commendable, the fact that he has the courage to stand on something like this, because that's what our country is founded on, right? So,
yeah, 100%. I hate. It's almost like, yeah, it is a hate almost when you see people who know and understand, like as a black thing, we know and understand what he was doing. Sit there and make him look like he was crazy, or that is a pet peeve of mine. When you know somebody is got their head on straight and they really fighting for something, and you just choose to make them look crazy or make them look like, that is a pet peeve of mine. And like that type of person should get their ass whooped every single time. I
that's
don't
a
like.
fact. That's a fact. Like it's like, yo, you're allowing the ops to portray this man in a certain light, which is like, you don't need to get up here and bash him like the Stephen A. Smiths of the world. Like, yo, he's standing for something. You may not like what he's doing, but bro, like, don't be the puppet that just they pay a certain amount to just criticize the other black man. Like, don't do that. Don't do that, because
I don't like that.
because they lose respect for all of us when you do that. Because truth be told, they know that would never happen if the roles were reversed. It's like, yo, I may not like something that somebody in my community said, but I'm not finna just be out here bashing them. I'll have a conversation with them and say, like, hey, maybe we can figure out a way to position it in a more favorable way, so it comes across a little bit more digestible to people, and not only to the people that, when I say digestible, not to the people who necessarily may be ops, but I'm saying, what's that noise?
Right, especially when you know they're not doing wrong. That's what pisses me off.
Yeah, but I'm saying more digestible to the
Yeah.
people that are actually on that side and benefit from it as well, so we can unite. But let's get to, you want to read Kiki's one? I just put it back.
Oh, no,
Sorry. You want me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, random. What kind of role do you think a step parent should play? I read an article that said a stepfather is there just to show the child how their mother should be loved and treated. I read an article that said a stepfather is there just to show the child how their mother should be loved and treated. Throw that article away, in my opinion. A stepfather's role should just be to show the child how their mother should be loved and treated.
A step parent is I think the job of a step parent is obviously to come in and be another parent and love, because the stepmothers too come in and just bring more love to the whole entire unit and to the whole family, to the kids, to the parent, to everybody. To come in and do what is supposed to be done. When you look at a substitute teacher, if the teacher is not there, you come in and you follow the same guidelines.
So, then you should disagree with what that just said, that article.
No, I didn't say I agree.
The article saying just to show the mother how to be loved and treated. Like, that just goes to show me, Kamari, I ain't gonna say you're not gonna like it, but that just goes to show you how feminized our society is. The fact that you think a stepfather, a man that's coming in to help your family, to come in as the leader to save a lot of this stuff, where we always talk about, we having a conversation yesterday where it said that when women have kids, it makes them less desirable. So here you have, now that was just the conversation we had. So here you have a man that's willing to come in, protect, provide, and guide you and your kids that aren't his, that he's still willing to take that role. And you think that his only role is to show the child how their mother should be loved and treated? No, my role is exactly what it would be as a father: to discipline, to provide guidance, to provide leadership, to provide all the things that a father would normally provide in the household, not to simply show a child how amazing their mother should be treated.
I think, So no, she was saying, no, I'm reading what she said under that. I think that sometimes people look at divorce as one of those things that like, oh, well, now that we're divorced, everybody hates each other. That's not true. And I think because I work with different family dynamics, especially when there's younger children involved, it's an all hands on deck thing. Some people get divorced just because they simply grew apart, but their love for their children is still there. So you have active fathers and active mothers, even though they're not, even though they're divorced, that doesn't change how active that the father is in that life. I think that whoever comes in is to be an addition of what is being upkept. Now, if there's a situation where the parents divorce and the dad is just like, I'm not around anymore, then okay, yeah, you need to be looking for somebody that's going to come in and provide that support, that love for everybody. And I think that sometimes you just really have to, again, go based off of the situation. I work for families who have divorced, but everybody loves everybody. Like both said, the dad has a new girlfriend, mom has a new guy, and everybody's like all on the same page when it comes to the children, when it comes to, handling finances around the children, and there's no beef in that. So I think if you're just looking at it from that standpoint where there's like an issue or, maybe one parent is like absent and really just stayed absent, then or maybe the mother was abused and now the stepfather comes in and he's not abusive. So I think you have to look at that from different ways, because just that one statement, if that was just the focus of the argument, of the article, I wouldn't agree to that either, because I've seen it work in different ways.
Yeah, I'm. That's just wild. That's just wild to me. The fact that you think a parent. No, I need to come in. First off, I can't be a man if I'm not able to discipline our child, your child, whatever, however we see it. Then, to me, you can't really be a man.
And these are things. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Nah, especially if it's a boy. There's no way that I'm being in a household living with you and I'm not able to discipline your kid, because kids need discipline. So therefore, you telling me I got to look the other way in my house, the roof that I'm in, the house that I'm putting food on the table for. I have to look the other way when your kid needs discipline, because that's not the role that I'm here for. I'm just here to show your mother love and to show you how I should be treating your mother, how men should treat your mother. It ain't about your mother.
It's about the family unit, and everybody has different family units, and every kids are different. You may get a parent, you may jump into a situation and the kids are great. The dad is involved. He's cool with you being there. And then everybody's like, yo, like, if little JoJo acts out of line, this is how we talk to him, whatever. Like, you have to do what works best for your unit. But no, I think it really depends. But I think that article is stemming from like sometimes when kids have been in like problematic and traumatic situations, have seen their parents be abused or hurt. And then obviously that next person that comes in is like, okay, no, you need to learn that love doesn't look like this. You know what I mean?
Stop getting divorced.
Well, that make wise decisions before getting married. That's
like I understand. So, Aunt Bro, big facts. It comes down to the people in the situation. Divorce can create a healthier and bigger family. It can, but let's be real. We trivialize marriage so much to the point where, because divorce has become so socially acceptable, like it's something that's just accepted, where it's like, oh, if something's not right, just get a divorce. And in all actuality, we have to get away from that mindset, because all it's doing is breeding all these different divorce things. Like, everything is perspective based. So if you go into a relationship or a situation where it's like, oh, I'm in this for the long haul, that's how I see it, that's the only option, then you're going to move accordingly to that, according to what you believe. Like, divorce is not an option. Now, if you go into it with divorce being an option, then you're always going to look at the grass being greener on the other side. Your perspective is going to be based on your mindset that you initially went into it with. So I think it's important for us to go into it like, okay, if a situation is getting terrible and okay, that's the last option, then okay, get a divorce. But I think we have to adjust our mindsets to the point where we're not just seeing divorce as, oh, we're arguing, we're not happy, so let's get a divorce. Nah, like, it's bigger than that. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And I think also too, again, being mindful about what you do before you get into a relationship, who you're getting into a relationship with. Also, I think there's nothing wrong with people having non-negotiables. Obviously, I'm talking from an extreme point. If somebody is abusive and puts their hands on you, non-negotiable. You don't have to stick around for that. If somebody is manipulative and does not have your best interests at heart, does not have the family's best interests at heart, non-negotiable.
Well, we got to
Like,
stop there. Hold on.
no, I'm not
You
done.
should have known that before, though.
That's what I'm saying. But I just said that you have to pay attention. There are things that people overlook. There are things that people push to the side because it's a certain way when it starts off, or they push it to the side because they want love, they want a partner. You got to be intentional. If you want something to last forever and don't plan on getting divorced, you have to be intentional about who you choose and the person that you bring into your space. If divorce isn't an option, if that's how you want to go into it. But there's certain red flags as a woman that we will ignore. And I know men do this too. A lot of people, like we were talking about with Kim K or whatever, there's certain things. Oh no, they look good. They do this. They get my rocks off. They're sexually compatible with me. There's a lot of things that we look at in the beginning and be like, I could get past that, or I think you can get past that. And then you get involved and you're like, oh, hell no. I didn't know they were going to be this type of mother. I didn't know that they would be this type of father. I didn't know that they had a gambling problem. Like, so there's certain things that you can't really overlook in the beginning. My homegirl, she said to me the other day, she said, it wasn't always the red flags that I overlooked. She was like, sometimes it was the green flags that I thought were so great about my partner that when I actually got married to him, started to piss me off in the relationship. She was saying that like, oh, he's so giving. He's always like, helping somebody at the drop of a dime. And then she's like, yo, we on our last dime and you out here trying to help somebody else. And it's just like, now that becomes a conflict. Or if there's something where like, he devotes all his time to his family and his parents and all these different things. And now we're in the mix and we have our own life. And it's like his head is all the way over there. And it's like that was commendable in the beginning, but now it's a problem that we're in it. So I think it's just really being honest in the beginning and really talking through things. But there's also some things that marriage will probably teach you that you may not know until you get in it. And it's like, if this is your forever person, or you want this to be your forever person, because that is a desire, I believe, people want to stay married and stay together, but it's just like, what work are you willing to do though? Because
don't get married then. If you're not willing, because first off, the same thing will apply. Like, oh yeah, you don't know until you actually marry somebody how it's going to be, but you're also leaving a situation. You have no problem divorcing and not knowing what's on the other side of divorce,
exactly,
or what's on the other side of this new relationship. If you decide to lay down with somebody who's manipulative and is cool with you, then keep that same energy. Keep that same energy and figure it out moving forward. Because it's like, until we develop a mindset that Queez just put, that divorce is not an option over here. Until we develop that mindset, then we will not be responsible in picking a partner, because we know that, worst case scenario, we could just get divorced. Worst case scenario, I could just, get some child support. Worst case scenario, I'll just have to pay some child support. So looking at it from both sides, until we develop this mindset that divorce is not an option, then we will never take marriage as seriously as we need to.
Right. And I think that some people don't realize that sometimes divorce, I think I've heard too, divorce is harder, like getting out of a marriage is harder than getting into one. So really you got to weigh your options and your costs with that stuff too. But I think it's about, again, being intentional about your desires, your who you want to be and how you want to show up, and who can really get the goals done when you're choosing a partner. And I think, like Lamar said, do the work. There's certain relationships that you're like, okay, I'm willing to do the work because there's reasons, there's understanding, there's goals. We change the world with this. We do that as a couple. We make this happen. But then there's certain things where it's like, there's nothing getting done here. There's nothing getting done. You don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. So why stay? I think people come to that point too. And I don't think that you should hold somebody down just because, just for the sake of saying that we did not want to get a divorce and it's terrible. I think it really just depends on the situation. But definitely, I think even if you do choose the right partner, it's still going to be work. So just not running away when,
Queez talking about just go ahead and off me, Yellow. If you get a divorce, like off me, man. I'm gonna feel terrible. Like, we not getting. you gotta lock that in from that conversation. Has to happen beforehand, not soon.
Mhm.
With it, and
What
from
is this?
speaking from experience, people change over time. After 8, 9 years, people can grow apart or more so stop growing. I won't say divorce is bad, even with no red flags at any point. Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta. I guess you gotta look at who it impacts. You
Yeah.
know, who it impacts. I think when a lot of us look at divorce, we're looking at it for the people and the man and the woman or whoever's getting divorced. We're looking at it from there, like what's best for them, and then rationalizing what's best for the kids based on what's best for them instead of the opposite. Rationalizing, focusing on what's best for the kids, and then using that to rationalize what the parents decide to do.
Yeah.
So I
I
think
think
it's just a different way of looking at it.
Yeah, I think with divorce it sucks because sometimes people are huge, right, with emotions and love and all those different things, and you go in and you're like, oh my god, but he's the man of my dreams, and then it's just like, well, he's whatever. You just thinking about you, but again, when you have children, what is the healthiest environment for the children? Is it us together? Is it us separately? Is it us? Just how does it work? Because honestly, when you have kids in play, like the parents being in the household is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see. But if their view, kids have front row views to the parents' issues too. You know what I mean? Some people fight in front of their kids. Some people disrespect one another in front of their kids, and then that trickles down to how the kids respect it. If you see a woman, talking down to the father, and the father never doing anything about it, the kids see that. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. If the father's talking down to the mom and nothing ever happens, then now you get the kids where they're disrespectful to mom. It's like you've got to have real, again, those religious, like we said, religious foundational rules for your household. We don't argue in front of our children. I will never call you out your name in front of our children, and stick to that. Whatever type of rules that you want to have, you got to have them within your marriage, especially when there's kids, because sometimes what's healthy for the kids is not always staying together if you guys do not, if you can't come outside of yourself and look at them as the most important thing of the marriage.
And a lot of people say that they're like, oh, us staying together, it's not what's best for the kids because we argue too much. We can't communicate. It's getting explosive, toxic, and all this other stuff. Nah, fix it. Stop arguing. Communicate better.
Yeah.
Stop being this toxic. Like literally, fix it.
Sounds
It's
good.
if it sounds good, but
Yeah.
it's for your kid. Do you care about your kid or not? Like you're literally convincing yourself that the stats all show it. A kid is going to flourish better in a two-parent household. It is what it is. We can sit here and talk about the anomalies and this particular situation and, oh, well, I grew up this way. We can talk about it. Overall, kids are going to do better in two-parent households. So when parents decide to divorce, do what you need to do. However, we can't sit here and excuse the fact of, oh, well, because it's such a bad situation, then it's best for the kids. No, fix the situation.
Yeah.
Fix it.
I think that I agree. It's just one of those things where it's like, oof, sounds easier than it is. But yeah, no, I agree.
But why do you say that though?
Well, because I've seen, like, just when you see it in real life and you see certain things that happen, it's like, again, like Kiki said, like them emotions, you know what I'm saying? It depends what goes on behind the scenes and why people are breaking up.
But is your kid not worth it though?
I'm not saying that your kid isn't worth it. I think sometimes if we're being real and we have it, like being honest about having human experiences, there's certain things that I've seen in marriages that have gone down that is just like, yo, how do you even stand in the same room as this motherfucker? Like, there's certain things that make you angry, you know what I mean, about someone. There's certain betrayals that happen. And I'm not all for the negative side. I'm not 100% for divorce. I'm just saying, yes, it sounds good and it should be that way. So I'm agreeing, but I'm just like, there are some things that I've seen where it's just like, I don't even know how you can even stand in the same room with them like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't even, like.
Well, how you do it is how you stood in the room with him for the past 5 years, because it ain't like the dude changed. It ain't like the girl changed. So let's be real. Like, it ain't like everybody like to think, oh, when we got married, this changed and that changed. Even if something did change, you probably knew that the writing was on the wall where a lot of the stuff that you say changed. You
You
know, you
should.
thought that that could be a possibility, and stuff is going to change. Like, so all I'm saying is that before we decide to commit, then let's go into it with an understanding that, yo, things may change. I may not be the person that I am to you right now. We may not be doing this every night how you think we, things may change. But are you still willing to lock in with that person for the overall purpose of the family rather than just your wants and your needs?
Yeah, if it's healthy, for sure.
So what Kiki asked the question, does a woman being divorced lower her value?
No, I
Uh,
don't think so.
does a woman being divorced lower her value? I would say that for her to get divorced, that means that she had to get married, you know, obviously, for her to be divorced. So I think the marriage, when another man sees you as you were married, then to me, that puts you in a better light if marriage is your goal to now dealing with other relationships and situations with other dudes. Or I guess I'm just speaking from a woman's perspective because she asked as a woman being divorced. Now that you're in a relationship with different dudes, they see you as somebody that somebody already decided to put a ring on. So, in my opinion, that elevates you, the fact that you were married, rather than it taken away from the fact that you were divorced. Now, personally, I would look at it as lowering their value just because it's like, damn, if I'm the type of person that thinks how Queez thinks, which is divorce is not an option, then for me to take it there with you, in the back of my head, I would still be thinking like, damn, this person still got a divorce, so they are okay with getting divorces. Maybe I'm thinking like, damn, when shit gets rough, are they gonna want to walk out? Are they gonna do all these things? And that would definitely be on my mind. So it's there's pros and there's cons to it. I'm not
Yeah,
sure that we could just put a stamp on it.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think, and again, communication. You can tell, man. Like if you're dating someone and they're constantly talking about their ex, or they're constantly like, oh, this happened, that happened. It's just like you're not ready. You're not ready. You haven't closed that chapter, and so sometimes you can hear that and you can understand if somebody's not taking accountability. I have a homeboy. I won't put his business out here, but he's been married a few
Put
times.
that shit up now. Let me.
No, you just been married a few times, and I'm like, so what do you think that, like, what do you think that you could have done better in
What's
your
the
marriage?
problem? Yeah, what's the problem?
Yeah, like what he was
Is he
like,
talking about
it was
everything that
all,
she did, or is he talking
he
about
said
everything
it was
he?
all them, and I was like,
Damn,
my boy,
run,
come
run.
on,
Especially as a dude, yo, because
multiple,
yeah, especially as a dude, because I told you I look at this stuff all differently now. Like,
multiple.
fellas, it's on us. We are that powerful. We are those leaders to where it's on us. So therefore, when we accept our superhero power, we got to accept the responsibility and accountability that comes along with that. So if it does not work out, then that's on us. If it
Right.
works out, then we just doing what we stand on our purpose. But I no longer will criticize women how I used to, looking at it like this, because I just feel that y'all have been put in a position that you shouldn't be in. Like, you're playing out of position. I'm putting a lineman at running back and mad that he's not a good running back. Like, he's not a running back. So therefore, when I look at these type of situations, I'm looking at it. If it fails, with your dude and three different wives, yo, that's something that you gotta figure out within you,
Just own that shit.
because
And
you
some,
still chose to marry her. It's not like I could see if three random girls that you just met and went on dates with, and
and
you
it didn't
start
work
talking
out.
to them, and you like, nah, I don't want all three of them. All right, I'm not saying that, but these are three women that you decided to marry. Does he have kids with them?
One, just one of them.
So these are women that you decided to have kids with, or one kid with, one you had a kid with, and the other you decided to marry him. So it's like you can't turn around and now be like, yo, it's all them. To me, that just shows a lack of responsibility and accountability. I would
Yeah.
run fast. That's not man shit.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think sometimes too, a lot of people glorify the wedding, glorify the, oh, I'm married, or my husband, or saying it, and not really glorify what it really is. And some people will just say like, oh, well, I just more so about the wedding, more so about having the ring, more so about when they're using the language. It's not really about love and marriage and family and community. It's just about just saying like, oh, my wife or my husband, or we're married, or whatever. For like surface level reasons, some people get married, or peer pressure, or you know what I mean? Like, just be like, I think if somebody's divorced and they come through, I would assume that their next relationship, like, look, I want to put all my shit on the table. I want to be as honest as possible, because I really want to join forces with somebody who is really like joining forces. You know what I mean? Rather than like, oh yeah, let's just get married just because we're going to get married again. And I think that really is what the foundation of what you're trying to do is. People just want to be married.
I agree with that. Aunt wrote, fam staying just for the kids will not work. It's very toxic and kids pick up on all of it. Yeah. I agree. Fam staying and in a toxic situation will not work. What I'm saying is fix your shit. Remove the toxicity. Fix it. Figure out a way to fix it. Like, just like we could figure out, because what I hear a lot of, well, I'm not sure that I'd say a lot, but I've heard, I've had different conversations where people regret who they divorced. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I thought like, things would be better. The stuff that I was complaining about, a lot of people think that they would go back and kind of figure those things out and solve the issue. Like, just figure out the issue. I'm not saying keep it toxic. I'm saying that there's another option to actually fix it. That's what I mean. Because think about it. It's probably some toxic stuff from both sides, right? Something, right. So those same toxic things may be present in your next relationships as well. So there's still things that you may need to address and fix. So why not address and fix them together if possible? Now, I understand there may be situations where it's just like, I made a mistake. Shouldn't have married this person. Shouldn't have had kids with him or her. This ain't gonna work. I get it. There's extreme situations, but I just think we need to lean into, the fact that fixing our stuff and not seeing marriage as not seeing divorce as an option. I think that would be putting us in the best place to have, families that can achieve generational success. All right, hold up. It wrote, Kiki, I personally do not think a divorced woman is a red mark on your record. A man will look at why and who you are. And then Aunt wrote, oh, your homeboy the problem. Homeboy the problem.
I love him. I think he's funny. I just was
What's his name? What's his name?
Nah. I think he's funny. You're funny. No, I think he's like,
you're not gonna save your community. Make sure that the women in your community ain't.
Listen.
Put him out there.
No, I've talked to him about it personally. I think the thing with him is just like, listen, that you crazy. Like, you just had to tell,
I'm disappointed in you.
Stop. I had to
help the community.
Had to literally.
He's a serial marriager.
He knows.
You gotta put the word out there. You gotta say, I know you're my friend, but it's bigger than our friendship. This is about the community. we gotta put these childish ways on blast to prevent another woman from falling victim to this and a possible child.
And what do people say? They don't what is it what they say when this 12-step program? If you don't realize that you are the problem or that you are a part of the problem, listen, there's no saving you yet. But like I said, I was like, you are a menace to society and you're a problem, and you know it. And he's just like, oh no. Like, maybe we'll have him on the show. He can defend himself. But I think that is a problem.
Is this somebody you dated?
Me dated? No, I said my homeboy. You do like chaos.
I was trying to get clarity, so there's no chaos. I was trying to get clarity. I'm saying, is this somebody that you dated, or? Let
me tell you something. Okay, as a woman who's 34, who desires love-ish, but at the same time, like, you become a little selfish about who you give your time to in a way. Like, that's if I already see that there's chaos, there's certain red signs that are like beaming red, like, bitch, don't go here, don't go here. Like, there's like, you know what I mean? And there's some things that are like, I mean, you know, nah, we're not doing that. And because at the end of the day, I know what I want to walk into as a woman. So it's not somebody that I've dated since all of that. No. But I also think, too, people just do not like to take accountability. That's really what it comes down to. I don't want to censor around him because, again, that is my friend. But at the same time, I think that people just don't like to take accountability and don't like to just read the room. Like, if this is your problem, this is your problem. And maybe just people, you know, I don't know. It comes back down to, like, what's your motive? What was your motive when getting married? When are we gonna see Kamari? Yeah. Listen, y'all.
Yo, we need to put it out. Yo, we need a dating show in general. Like, not just, it can't just be, well, I mean, we could do something with just Kamari, like maybe an update every show on Kamari's dating life, but we should really create a network or like just some type of group where we can highlight certain people that are doing dope stuff within the community, similar to like a community highlight that we were talking about. So where we can highlight people and then give them the opportunity to be seen maybe in a more positive light by people that are looking to go in the same direction that they're looking to. So right. what better use could we have out of a network than to bring people together to build and to create their own families? Like,
but here's the thing, you got to have people that are actively really looking for that, because I could say I'm a great person all day. I mean, I have flaws, you know that.
You have a lot of flaws.
Relax, not too much.
Oh no, I thought my fault. My bad.
He's so aggy. No, I mean, yeah, like, so it's one of those things where it's just like, I'm all about intention, like for myself too, holding myself accountable. Like, am I being intentional when I'm doing this? And so I think when it comes to relationships and wanting to be with somebody and all that different stuff, it's like, I don't want to be on bullshit, just like I don't want somebody else to be on bullshit. And so I think sometimes when people are...
She's not ready, fellas.
I might not be in some ways. I really might not be. And that's what I've talked about before.
So can we spend time on somebody else then?
No, yeah, I didn't bring it up.
No more Kamari dating show. Kamari's not ready, Kiki. We need to focus on women that are intentional, just like Kamari said, and are not going to be BS. And Kamari's not ready for a relationship. She's not ready to submit.
Oh, stop it. It's not even about submission. It has nothing to do about submission, because I'm a firm believer as a woman, and she can agree too. When you are aligned with somebody, or you want somebody, or you want something to work, you're going to do what you need to do to make that happen, I believe. But like I said, for me and for anybody, whoever's up here, I think is, what are your intentions? Are your intentions really to find somebody? And that goes for anybody.
Are your intentions to find somebody right now, Kamari?
Today, no. But do I want that? Eventually, yes.
Kiki, are your intentions to find somebody right now?
I don't want to be finding anybody. I want to be found. I want to be found. I don't want to be looking like, hey, like I said, with the Tinder stuff and the dating apps and all this. I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that.
So then we got to put you out there so you can be found.
I'm outside.
Yeah, but you're outside, like.
I mean, I'm here, like I'm present, but also
like, at the wrong.
That's hurtful. It'll happen. Listen, I believe in alignment, like we talked about last week. Alignment. She said, tag her in.
King.
Take over.
Yo, tag her. I bet. So we're gonna start off with both of y'all, and maybe just a nice little interview process. Yo, let's do this on Wednesday, Mar. Let's do like a little spotlight. We're gonna spotlight Kiki. Kiki, make sure that you're able to cam up. Make sure that you know, present yourself however you want to present yourself. We'll ask y'all some dope questions. You know, we want to highlight it. We want to present you in the most amazing, favorable way that we know that you are. So maybe we'll do something on Wednesday and highlight Kiki, highlight exactly what Kiki's looking for, where she's from. Is she cool with not open relationships. What's the word I'm looking for? Long distance, or does it have to be somebody, in her particular area?
Yeah.
So yeah. So with that, we got a couple little dating shows. We got a couple things to look out for. Kiki, reach out to us, DM us, or shoot us a text or something so we can get you set up on Wednesday. And maybe you could show Kamari how to be intentional and how to get what it is that we say that we're looking for, rather than
You
to
do
just be
like
up there
chaos.
and to say what she needs, but to say, "Oh, I don't think I'm ready right now," because Kamari's
You
not ready.
you
She
do
doesn't
like
have time.
chaos. You do like chaos. That's all I'm gonna say.
Chaos brings opportunity.
Right. I think again, like we said, being intentional,
So
not with the bullshit.
yo, I'm tired, yo. Leave me alone. I got shit to do
He
today.
gonna
Can
he
we get
gonna this is what's gonna happen. He
no?
gonna say he's tired. He gonna take a 15-minute break. He
And
gonna look
then
at
yeah, I'll
some
be right
bullshit
back
and
on.
hop right back to it. Like, yo,
Yeah,
I'm miking back up, yo, cause I just seen
yeah. I just saw some BS that I got to
yeah
speak on.
the C
The
and
C
that
and DAC chaos.
exactly.
Yo, chill. David Alexander
Mari does not
chaos.
have time for y'all. You are so annoying. Nah, I listen. I love men. I do, man. I do. I love men. Like I do, and commitment is a thing. That's
I don't
that's
know what
like
that means.
I'm just
Okay.
saying. Like I'm just there's a lot. This is a morning show. We need to do a Friday night show.
You need Jesus.
Yeah, I do.
You need Jesus.
I do.
You need Muhammad.
I
You
need them
need,
all.
yeah.
But I'm excited for Kiki though. I really pray that there will be somebody on here on
Nah, we're
Wednesday.
gonna find Kiki. Yeah, we're gonna find Kiki. I got a couple people in mind.
Kiki,
A couple
do
people
you
that just
love
broke
me?
up with their girls.
Whoa, what? That's a whole nother
I'm
thing.
playing
We
around. I'm
want
playing
that.
around. I'm playing around. I'm playing
He
around.
like now look now this is when he starts to dwindling down. Like all right,
Playing
look.
around. Come on, man. We got this
This
3
was me
hours,
an hour
11
ago.
o'clock.
This was me an hour ago. Now I got shit to do too. All right.
All right, yo. So can we get maybe 30 seconds to kind of clear our mind, since we've been on here for 3 hours? 30 seconds to clear our mind, set the intentions for the week, throw out all the BS, and think about our loved ones and how we can I'm gonna give you this, how we can enjoy life more with our loved ones. Enjoyment, happiness, some things that I don't typically focus on.
Yeah. Yes.
Kamari, this is where you take the lead, but first I just want to
Oh look, I was like,
take
I
time
thought
to
you were
put on
going
the
out the
screen
moment.
Ant's comment. I love men. I need them all. Kamari said 529, 523.
He's funny.
So,
I don't
can we get a woosah?
Can we get a woosah?
Woosah.
Okay.
Rub
So,
them earlobes.
right.
Rub
Well,
them earlobes.
I love doing that. Oh my god,
Rub
I
them
could do
earlobes.
that.
Yeah, I would pay somebody to just rub my earlobes all day. Rub my earlobes.
But no, I think that our 30 seconds or 15 seconds, whatever, just focus on being in alignment with what's best for you in this season, and really just honing in on having discernment on what that is and really love on that. You know what I mean? If you're in this season and you're loving on your partner, do that to the max. If you're loving on yourself, do that to the max. Wherever your focus is and is bringing the right fruit, focus on that. So take your time to take a deep breath, exhale the bullshit, yes, get it out, and take these next 15 seconds to just think about how we can make the rest of today beautiful. Five seconds. Okay, have a good day.
Yo, we love y'all. We love y'all. Yo, we really mean that. And like you said, we're gonna make sure that we're sending y'all some dope gear. We back, yo. I don't know if y'all peep, but we back. Like the culture is back. Like we are back. Like so yeah. Like I'm just amped for it. Yeah, we're gonna make sure that we supporting the people that support us. Yo, this is a community thing. Anytime for all y'all Queez, Ant, Kiki, Miss Shirley. Shout out to Miss Shirley. We got an update on Miss Shirley. How Miss Shirley's doing?
She's good. I spoke to her yesterday.
Okay. Boog, Mont, jump on here. Anybody that wants to jump on, yo, this is our show. You feel me? Like this is not just Kamari and I. Like we just setting the platform for us to have these conversations. So if anybody ever wants to tap in, jump on, cam up, voice your opinion, and just have a dope convo. It don't got to be argumentative. It could just be like, yo, I want to jump on the show today. You know, talk about some topics with y'all. It doesn't have to be a super debate. Kamari and I will do that on our own. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, y'all know I always roast her. But yeah, shout out to y'all. OG Mar, I'll let you take it away.
You guys have a great day. Enjoy the rest. I don't know if you're working, work hard. If you're not working, enjoy that. And just have a great day and see y'all Wednesday.